Good evening, Mary Lou Roberts, Ellie, everybody coming in here. This is CmdrAleon, host of Encounters, the spiritual UFO contact show here on social media. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Encounters. Everyone coming in here from all over the world, welcome. And if you're new to the show, I'm a contactee from the 60s, just for some background. We're doing well, and we also have had many sightings of what people call UFOs since the 1960s, and two large spaceships in the 80s, and just a lot of things going on. We're also co-coordinator here in New England for the Ashtar Command CE5 contact group, which we've had for over 12 years. Excuse me. Birds in Flight, welcome everybody coming in. And also on sabbatical with NPR Radio, WESU, with the Cosmic Eye radio show going on 22 years. Good to see everybody coming in here. And as we look at everything, and we've looked at a lot of things, I've actually downloaded shows to my YouTube channel. I think I've got most of the shows on there. I think I'm one show shy on my YouTube channel. That's from my TikTok broadcast that will be there. But we're pretty much caught up. Good to see all the people coming in here from everywhere around the world. Welcome to the #1 spiritual UFO talk show here on planet Earth. Lisa, good to see you. Everybody coming, Cindy Lou. I see all familiar names. New people, Mike Masters. Welcome, Mike. Everyone out there, wherever you may be. Daniel Starr, welcome, brother. Mia. Good to have you all with us. Jasmine, hey Jasmine. Good to see all the people coming in here. Matt Noble, good to see you, brother. And everyone, Rena, Kelly Collins, and the list of many beautiful people goes on. Stargazer, Autumn 9385, Mia T, Camp Spark. Hey Camp Sparkles, good to see you, brother. Always good to see you, man. And everybody out there, welcome to the show. Jay Bear, Brent Chowder, let's see, Fluffy Puppy. Good to have you with us. Good to have everybody with us here. Let's see, Susie G. Jay Bear, thank you for the join my team. I appreciate that very much. And all the good people out here. And let's try to get it amped up. Flossie Jane, please share, like, and FYP. Maybe we can get up to, if we try, maybe we can get up to 1,000 people in the room here. If we get 1,000 people watching the show, that'd be great. TikTok's not the way it used to be, where I used to automatically get on here and bam, there they were, you know. So we never assume anything, but if you want to invite anybody, hey, Ramona Circle, thank you for the heart, me, we appreciate it. Hey, David E., good to have you with us, brother, and everyone coming in here. So if you need to see or know of anybody you think that is wanting to know the cosmic things that are going on, this is, yeah, she was pretty cool. Ramona, she was pretty cool. I'm glad we were able to interview her last night. And those shows are transferred onto my my YouTube channel. And if you're not connected to my YouTube channel, please go to my bio and press the link. You can just subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's where all the shows that we've done. Hey, One Toyota, good to see you, brother. Mary York, welcome, Mary York. I think Cole Forbin. Hey, Cole. Good to see you. Jerry Porter. Hey, Jerry. And we like to try to acknowledge people user 559. But I'm not going to spend the whole night doing that, because then I wouldn't be able to do anything. Thank you for the cap, Camp Sparkles. Appreciate it. Belinda Jackie. Hey, Belinda Jackie. So just in general, welcome everybody out there, wherever you may be. Monica, everybody, welcome to the show. Blue Diamond says, unable to remote view Mars because of ways we were taught, got footage of Mars from NASA, and it wasn't Mars. Interesting. Got footage from NASA, and it wasn't Mars. Well, with NASA, you know that not everything they give you is going to be accurate. Marinette, good to see you. Taffy M. McCoy, or Taffy McCoy. Barbara, welcome, Barbara. Welcome, the window guy, okay. Shelly, welcome, Shelly. And we're just seeing more people coming here. Bon Bon, welcome. So you know what? Brothers and sisters, when I try to remote view the footage, it was pulling up in Greenland. Oh, that's pretty weird, Blue Diamond. That's kind of crazy. I wonder what that's all about. Yeah, NASA's kind of weird, you know. They're kind of, you know, I've said this before for the last 3 years. I wouldn't trust anything that NASA supposedly is putting up there. And even the stuff on the Land Rover that is showing their Land Rover over Mars, unless it's doctored, sometimes they don't doctor the stuff from the Land Rover, then you can look at it and say, wow, you know, what's going on here? They're kind of weird. They'll sometimes cut the transmissions from the space station if there is a spaceship in front of the space station on the live camera facing outward. They've actually sometimes cut it off. Yeah, they're kind of very strange. They've been doing that for a long time. I thank you for the gifts, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got our apple cider, so we're good tonight. Rogue, thank you so much for the gifts. Everybody, thank you. I appreciate all the support and gifts and everything here on planet Earth from everybody all over the place. Yvette, good evening. Yeah, they are, Fat Boy. They're extremely sneaky. You're absolutely correct. You know, they're very, once in a while things get past them, but they have a team of people at NASA that when they have photos that are really good, they'll doctor them or they'll blank things out of the photo so people don't see it. And they've done that for a lot of years, you know, NASA. They're just very tricky that way. So let's get the folks in here. I think we can get at least 700 or 800 people in here tonight. Don't you think so? I think so. And then we don't know what's happening with TikTok because we're in that realm of the next day or two figuring out whether TikTok is going to be doing its thing again or whether we're going to be temporarily all just in silence for another 24 hours or a couple hours or 48 hours or whatever. But why we're still here, and I do have faith that we'll still be here, but if we're not here, we will be back here. You know, so yeah, but it's good to be here. And very good question. So, you know, these are things I love. Yvonne 1, we're going to invite you up if you wish to come up. I'm very spontaneous. I love the question. So you never know, folks, who I'm going to pick up here based on your comment. You got to be over 18, no smoking on the show, no kids on the show, no cursing on the show, no religion, no politics, and no paranormal on the show. So thank you, Leica, for the gift, for the Night Star. I appreciate that, Leica. Elvira, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, you know, it is running on high frequency. And no matter what, you know, there's all kinds of people on TikTok, the ones that make videos, they never go live, but they're thinking, oh, you know, get ready for this. This is going to happen to TikTok. And I'm like, if I want to follow that reality, I could, but I'm not. So I follow my own reality, you know. I think we're in pretty good shape. Acid TV, good to see you, brother. Hey, Jen, everybody, Jesus Disciple. Welcome, Jesus Disciple. You know, so I've learned from all this stuff going on that it's better to focus on positivity and our own reality, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and we're still going to be here. You know, I'm not too concerned about it, but I am aware of it. So, you know. And because I do think what we're doing here, and we've been doing for the last 3 years, is busting the matrix. The things we do here, the green beans and the major media don't want us to do. And they're not doing it. The major media is not doing what we're doing here. They're not doing it on, you know, you're not having a primetime show like this on one of the networks like Encounters. They would never put a show like this on ABC or MSNBC or whatever, or maybe even CBS, whatever. You know why? Because we're telling people the truth. you're speaking the truth. Could you imagine if Encounters was in a studio on a big network and we had a studio audience of like 100 people broadcasting all over the country in prime time? Oh, yeah, Jennifer. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? The thing is, we got the power. We have the cosmic power. We got the truth behind us. We got the information. We have all of us working together. We've got what we need to do, and we're here to do it, you know. Hey, Crafter, good to see you, sister. We are going to do it, you know. And every day now, I am more amped up, more and more in terms of what's going on here. You know, there's a lot of people all over the place, and I see again all these things like a recycling of information. You know, and at the UFO conferences around the country, you get the same grouping of people at all these conferences that have spilled. They go to one conference, to the other conference, to the other conference. And there's some really good people out there. And then there are the other ones that are more traditional in the field of the UFO subject that want to, you know, talk about the things they've always talked about. And then you have some people, if they can make it through the grouping of the regular people, more establishment UFO speakers, like me, if I were there, I'd be considered a non-establishment speaker. Why would I be an establishment speaker? Because I wouldn't be wearing a suit and tie, getting up there, talking about the possibilities of the document that's just been released. I have to thank you. The document that supposedly is telling us the truth, and then reading the scientific synopsis of the document. So you got two things going here. You got the establishment UFO community, which is wearing their best suits ever, trying to be as professional as ever, to tell the audience of 500 people in an auditorium when they got up to speak for an hour, and showing a couple of pictures. And they're still looking to get the public to come to the conferences because they are about telling people the truth. They're going to get you the disclosure in which the public should have. Thank you for the cap, Crafter. So, you know, I can speak in this tone. I can speak with authority in this tone if I wish to. Now, I could start 3 years ago speaking like this. I want to invite you to the most talked about UFO program on planet Earth. Now, I couldn't go the whole show like that. There's no way. I couldn't even do that. If I were on a TV station, I would still talk like this. But these professional UFO people that have written books, go to all the conferences, have talked about abductions, and have all this grandiose information to share, it never gets anywhere, because all these years of these UFO conferences, you would think by now one of these conferences would have exploded the disclosure. And these people do the circuits every year. Now, if I tried to get into one of the one conference I do want to get into is called Contact. I think it's out in Joshua Tree, California, once a year. And actually, that's a conference that I want to do regarding what's going on. There's other conferences that are just, you'll see these people. If you look under the subject of UFO events in the United States, conferences, you'll see certain people always at every one of those conferences. And, yeah. It says paid partnership. I'm not sure how that works. But I've always been interested, but I know it's not going to happen. For many years, I've been interested in going public on one of these conferences that is more, I mean, I know the conferences in the United States that are going on. I know a friend of mine who does a conference out in the West Coast who worked with Dr. Frank Strange's when he was alive. You know, so there's things going on that need to be more aggressive in the stance of disclosure. I don't see, you know, all these people talking about those things writing their books, getting their books published, and some of those books might be fantastic for the newbie that's trying to learn about the subject as the train is going by at this time of night. There'll be another train going the other way soon. So on both ends of the thing, the green beans and the UFO conferences, and the people that speak at the conferences, and the people at the green beans, and the so-called disclosure, and the people that are coming public to try to get, the green beans to come public with all the information that they're not coming with. Ever since we've had these hearings in Washington regarding disclosure and the truth and whistleblowers, there is stuff being given, like little steps and steps of information that these people are coming forward with. Okay? But we still haven't had disclosure. Honestly. These people say, okay, we come and there's a group of people in Congress that are really, I believe they're sincere. They want to get to the truth. They want to get to disclosure. They want people to know what's going on. The problem with that is they're going through a rock and a hard place. Has there been any revelations out of Washington, real revelations that would shatter the existence of world governments, that would make things crumble, that all these things would fall apart? Let's talk about this. No one's talking about it, but I am. We get into all the stuff about contact. We talk about the space people. But let's talk about what's happening on this planet for a little bit. Let's hone in on what's happening in our own countries where the green beans exist, that have departments of green beans that are involved in keeping everything secret regarding cosmic information. Let's talk about this. All right? Because nobody's doing it. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't keep track of that. I just know what I know. And I know that we are not being told the truth. I know that we've never been told the truth. I know that here I'm making every attempt to tell you what I do know. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the gift. Sparkles, I thank you so much for that. And if enough people come to hear the truth, you can spread that truth. You can spread it all over the planet. If you don't come into the room to hear the truth, you won't know. You'll miss it. Not still, you can watch it on my YouTube channel, or you can come in here. You can come in here, sit down, relax, watch the show, and hear the commander speak. I do a lot of interviews. I interview a lot of people. I love doing that. A lot of times people say, Commander, why don't you tell us what you know? Why don't you tell us something about what you know? There's a lot of things I do know. So I'm going to take some time tonight to try to blow your minds, to shake things up a bit on the planet, to tell you the things that are not being told. Now, I don't have top security clearance. I don't need it. I don't need to have top security clearance. You know why? Because I got the information. I've always had the information. Now, look at this. There are people that truly believe that the green beans are doing us a favor. They don't want to get people scared. They don't want people to freak out. They're afraid that the whole planet would freak out if they knew the truth. That, people would just totally lose it. They've said that for forever. When I was a little kid, I didn't know they said it if they said it. But when I got older enough to have the ability to be conscious of things, I understood there was a cover-up. It started with Project Blue Book, at least growing up as a kid in the 60s, with J. Allen Hynek, who was involved with the Air Force. They had him and some Air Force people go out, and they would go out to receive the reports from people all over the country regarding their experiences with UFOs and other situations. Then they closed what they call Project Blue Book. And when they closed Project Blue Book, they didn't close it. But publicly, it was stated that Project Blue Book never, ever existed again. It was done. The green beans decided to stop focusing on people's experiences and going out to them in a farm out in Texas or something, and they stopped supposedly doing this. Now, if you believed that that program, Project Blue Book, stopped, if you truly believe that, it's not true. They never stopped, ever. Do you think for 1 minute that the green beans would ever stop looking at the fact that these things are existing? Do you think for 1 minute that throughout the 50s and 60s and even the 40s, going up before I was born, that they weren't already looking at these things? That they didn't have any experiences with these things? That didn't know anything about these things? Oh man, am I going to go at it now tonight? They know. They've always known. And when I talk about this, I can tell you that there are people like Daniel Fry. Look up that name, Daniel Fry, F-R-Y. He wrote a book. And his book talked about contact with the star people. He wrote it many, many years ago. I have a copy of it. He also worked within the green beans, within that realm, but he was not like them. He wanted the people to know the truth. There were meetings held, and this is something that most people don't know, but I'm going to tell you. There were meetings held in the deserts in the West Coast back in the early days. Back when I say early days, when I was a kid, I would not know this. I knew about it later when I became an adult. There were meetings held between the star people and the other ones, the lower vibrational beings. There were meetings held between both sides. One side wanted to provide us with what they call their technology. The other side wanted to provide us with a spiritual awakening, which would include everything else that comes with that, for better, peaceful means for the whole planet. The other side wanted to be able to agree to give us some technology in order to do whatever they wanted to do on our planet, with life forms on our planet. And between the two groups, the green beans decided to side with the ones that wanted to provide the green beans with reverse engineered technology in order to be able to do other things. You know what I'm getting at. Hopefully you know what I'm getting at. And please invite more people here. Let's see if we can get up to a couple hundred people here tonight. So tonight I'm giving a complete dissertation on exactly what happened. Now, I don't need to have top security documents. I don't need to have somebody hand me anything that I don't know about, because everything I know, I know. And if you're watching me for 3 years, you know that what I'm speaking of is true. Bonnie Els, thank you for inviting 4 people. And you could too, if you have some people that you feel should be here, FYP, invite people. Let's get it up to a couple hundred. We can do it. Man, and when we first got on TikTok, before all this crazy stuff happened, we would have easily about 600-700 people here. So who knows what's happening? You know, so what we're going through, and don't mind the trains, this is the last group, I don't know if it's the last group of trains, but they're going by. There is so much to understand here. The dynamics of what we are going through will affect, hey, Half Pint, thank you for the goat, will affect our whole planet. Do you realize, if you watch any of my shows from the early days when I started 3 years ago, I've had so many different people on here who have had direct encounters with space people, and others who have encounters with the lower vibrational beings. And this is all part of what you would call disclosure, because it's telling their story. It's telling your story. It's telling our story. It's all of our stories. The things from Project Blue Book. What do you think happened to Project Blue Book? You know, when the Air Force told the public back in the day, when J. Allen Hynek was still alive, we're shutting down the program. Do you honestly believe that the government shut down the program regarding looking at the subject of UFOs? Do you honestly believe that they did that? If you do, that's fine. And I know there are people that believe whatever they're told by their particular governments. Gene Harper, yes, they changed the name. Later in years, in the last 10 years, there was some people that came public, that talked about it. And these were people that were formerly in levels of government and some people that were in the government. And then some of these people aren't here anymore, but they were here. You have a situation now where things are being censored, information is being controlled by the mass media. The mass media that has these programs that are on the cable channels, you know which ones they are, right? They are here to essentially control the information. Let's put it this way. How many people think that Discovery Channel, History Channel, when they promote these programs on the subject of UFOs or ET abductions or whatever, don't you think they're being looked at by the green beans before they broadcast those programs? Maybe not, maybe so. How many people think that these channels, these cable networks, have to have their stuff approved before they broadcast it? Documentaries, shows, what have you. They are. When the Dior bag thing happened late last year, remember how it went all over the media for about a few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks? All these channels were talking about on national networks about the Dior bags and what are they and where are they coming from. And did you realize that within so much time, did you notice how now you don't even hear about it? And let's just take the United States, for example. The networks like ABC, for when and I use that as a channel, Good Morning America, they were all talking about it when it started happening. Everyone was talking about it. One woman in the Good Morning America says, I live in New Jersey. One of the hosts of the Good Morning America show said, oh yeah, I've seen them. They were talking about it, people getting into it. And then what happened? Silence. Going back to the old news cycle about wars, about people, fires and other things. The normal national news cycle, the sports that are happening, people in the college basketball games, the same cycle that you see every day. Media control. Media control by the green beans. So when people say, oh yeah, we have a free media compared to some other countries, our national news media is free. They're free. Other countries, their news media is censored. Our news media is free. What do you think happened? Be honest. All the networks on the regular channels that have the national news in the morning and at night stopped covering the subject. What do you think they stopped covering it? Because the people that control the networks are told to by the green beans. Hey, Georgia Peace, this is right here all over the world and it's right here in this country. They are controlled. They've been controlled forever. When there was no cable, when there were 2 TV sets back in the 60s, when you had color TVs, you had 4 or 5 channels for national news. CBS, NBC, ABC, and maybe one other channel. And then your UHF. And you had Walter Cronkite and all these people. With the advancement of all these channels that we have, all these cable news networks, and all these different things like Discovery and History and whatever, on and on and on, Sci-Fi, whatever it was. And Sci-Fi did some programs on the subject. I remember when they did that years ago. And there were people that were part of those programs. But don't you think even in the Sci-Fi programs that were real, seriously, every week they'd have a show on at night on the subject? Where'd those shows go? What happened to them? You see, The green beans control what programming and what news regarding the subject can be released. So if you think you're living in a society that is totally free and, wow, isn't it great to be here? We're free. We have plenty of access to the subject on regular channels. No, you don't. Where's that one newscaster segment every morning or evening on the national news where they have a UFO report? An actual report. They don't. They don't have any reports. Nothing. You know? If the spaceship landed on top of the Good Morning America building, hovering over it in the morning, I bet you they probably either would be told to cover it or they'd be told to cover it up. What do you think they would do if an intergalactic spaceship the size of a school bus came down over the building where Good Morning America is in Times Square? What do you think the networks would do? Because they're all in that Times Square area, CBS, NBC, Fox. What do you think those networks would do? What do you think they would do? They can do two things. Either go live and show the spaceship or totally black it out. Well, they couldn't really black it out because if there are people in Times Square, the only thing they can do there is get people off Times Square and block off the street. Yeah, no, we can't deny it anymore. But even though we can't deny it anymore, they can. Because they have the tools, the transmitters, the broadcast systems, and we, the people here on the planet, wherever you live in Scotland or France or wherever you live with your media, I would guarantee you the same thing is happening right now. Thank you. Thank you. And you're awesome as well. So tonight, the commander is not just doing interviews. You want to hear a little bit about what I know, and I'm going to go out and do it right here. I'm doing it right now. You're going to get a little bit of the commander's knowledge and understanding. I've been in this deal for a long time. I'm not somebody who's just woke up and say, oh, thank you very much. That's pretty cool. Thank you. You know, I know a lot of things. I can probably write a book. I almost started to write a book, but I never got totally into it. I'd love to write a book someday after this is all over and we have contact. I'd love to write a book. Right now, I'm here to bust the matrix. Herbalist, thank you. Now, you know that there are different space civilizations that are coming here every day and night. They're coming every day and night. In our general lives, millions of people go to work every day, whether you're in the city, maybe you live in the suburbs, maybe you live in a country farm area and you're a farmer, whatever it is. And as you're going about your day, above you are intergalactic activity that is happening all over the planet. A lot of it is cloaked. When I say cloaked, I mean it's cloaked. And if you're a sensitive person and you're an awakened person, you could be walking down a country road and all of a sudden there's a spaceship. And if you're sensitive to the energies and it might be cloaked, you're going to know it's right there above you. If you're not sensitive to the energies, you're just going to keep walking down the road to go to that place where you go fishing with the fishing rod. But the fact is, they're here now. The spaceships are here now. They're cloaked. They're cloaked for a reason. They cannot be detected by Earth-based technology. The technology of the spaceships are so far beyond Earth abilities, they cannot be detected. Okay? And they're watching our planet. They're watching our planet. They're actively involved in our planet to get us prepped up and ready for contact. Now, you're not going to hear that. So if I was on Good Morning America and I said, I knew this, I'm sitting there, so-and-so, can you read us a report about the price of gasoline going up tomorrow? Forget the other report. You can't read that. We're switching the report. We're giving you the report about the gasoline prices going up 20 cents a gallon. You're not going to read that report that was given to you about the spaceships hovering above the planet. You have to read this report instead. Okay. So you want me to cover it up. You want me to lie to the public. Okay. And that's exactly what's happening. The spaceships are here. The space beings are here. Space people, light beings, space beings, whether they're Arcturians, whether they're Syrians, whether they're Lyrians, whether they're Palladians, Andromedans, going on and on and on. They are here and they are everywhere. The question is, will people be willing to wake up and not be afraid of what's coming? Now, there's a lot of people that, talk about UFOs and the subject all over. I love it. In the mornings I go up, I see different groups of people talking about the subject on here. They have little groupings of TikTokers that get together. And I think it's good. Decentralized communications. I think it's really good. I think it's important that we take responsibility for who we are. All of us. I think it's important that we are the people that are disclosing truth. Mike, I never did think about that. I've been told I've been told to try to get backing. I might try to do that, but I have to meditate on that and see what that would be like. But I'm not unopposed to it. And Rocky Boy Joe book says, why are they here all at one time and not disclosing it to everyone? Because right now, as much as they want to disclose it to everyone, there's a divine plan for the space people to go public. And the green beans don't control anything about that. But everything's happening in what they call a divine plan. Now, what is a divine plan? Now, thinking in space, a space person's consciousness, they've been waiting to do this for eons. They've been waiting a long time to do. They've been here before. This planet being billions of years old, there have been many civilizations before, some that were very highly advanced and some that were not. Billions of years old, divine timing. They're going to make contact. When I say they, the Andromedans, the Palladians, all of them working together, and many other civilizations that we are not familiar with will be coming to Earth. And with all these crazy Earth-based things that are going on, that the green beans are doing to affect people's lives, is a diversion from what's really the truth. So if you can keep people worrying about paying for their groceries and putting food on the table and paying for gasoline for their car or not getting their Social Security, then you have them where you want them to be, right? You got the public thinking, I'm using this country as an example, if they do that and people get so self-absorbed into that 3D thing, they're not going to even care or know about what's happening above them. That's exactly what they want to do. So they're doing it. Everything has a particular purpose and reason. And I see through the whole thing. Everything's being done to get people so discombobulated that they're not even going to worry about or think about some spaceship coming from another planet. They're going to be thinking about, I don't care if that spaceship's coming from another planet. I got to spend some money to get about $200 worth of groceries for my family, and I can't even feed them. That's the truth. Let's get real. Let's get real, folks. And man, am I amped up tonight. So tonight you're hearing some cosmic truth. Jenny Harper says, why are they coming here? Hey, Jenny. They're coming here because they're here to assist us into a galactic family of light. They're here to assist us into a galactic family of light. We deserve to be in that galactic family now. The people that don't want us to be in that galactic family are the people that are trying to get us confused, diffused, and totally upset about our lives, making it so we can't particularly exist in just surviving in a 3D world, paying for everything that we need to pay for, buying the house, getting the new car, the used car, sending your kids to daycare, whatever it is. Just everybody just get discombobulated to the point where they don't know what to do. Yeah, they basically, Bonnie, try to keep everybody scared. And it is ridiculous holistic. That's absolutely true. And hey, Chris. Chris says when. So, again, I don't assume everybody knows what's happening. I want you to realize something very important. I want you to realize that there's something that's dramatic that will be happening. And I have to state it clearly. Yeah, Maya, where basically they want people to be confused, not just in the United States, and I can't speak for other countries if they're trying to do that to their people, but they want to confuse you. They want you to be so confused that you won't know what the truth is. So if they can confuse you, get you upset about something else, or create conflict in another country, what better way to get people off the concept of space people coming here to help us than why not have another war conflict in a little country somewhere in Europe or somewhere in an island in Asia or somewhere? So if you create a war or something like that, now people have to focus on now there's conflict between another country and another country. So they can create the conflict. Therefore, you're not thinking about what's going on up there. You're focused on the war. You're focused on the war, a depressed economy. People start losing their jobs. Nothing's going right. And the last thing you're thinking about is, oh, this is great. We have space people coming to help us. Star people. They're coming to help us. You know what I mean? So don't go for it. You're going to see a lot of that garbage happening on the networks and on media. You're already seeing it. They're doing exactly what they're told to do. Right? You'll see, oh, you see the narrative of the networks here in the United States. I can't speak for Europe or Asia. They are putting the narrative and amplifying it because they can. Better get ready. We might be going into a recession. Recession time's coming. Better get ready for recession. It's coming. There's no, what's coming is they don't want you to know the truth. So if we create all these things, people are going to start freaking out about that. And they're going to think, oh, I just heard on the news this morning we're going into a recession. Oh. And then, if you get everybody cutting their jobs, whatever they have, and say, well, you don't work here anymore. They're going to get people thinking about all that stuff. So the news cycle is keep it earth-based, keep it talking about fear-based stuff, confusing the public regarding what's going on here. All right? And I guarantee you there's no other UFO show that's talking about this right now. I know that. They're talking about everything else. But you got to talk about this in order to understand what's going on and why you're not seeing on the networks anything regarding this subject. Okay? Very important. And we spent 3 years telling people the truth here with your individual stories of all types. Do you realize that I've had people on here that have been taken on spaceships physically on both ends of the spectrum? I've had people that have had contact with their star family. I've had people that have been abducted by negative ETs and have told their stories. And some of them, with the negative stuff they had to deal with, it was terrible. That would be breaking news on a regular network, but they can't talk about that on the networks. They can't do what we're doing here on Encounters. And thank God I'm here to unconditionally do what I'm doing and telling the truth. Holistic Healer says, I've also had encounters with light beings. So I want to do a few things here. I'm very spontaneous. I'm going to follow Holistic Healer. I'd love to have you come on to the show. And if you come on, I'm going to bring you on. You can be a guest on the show and talk about that. See, that's one of the things I love about this show. I had encountered light beings. I want to hear that story.
Hi, how
Manuel.
are you? Thanks
Hey,
for the invite.
oh my gosh, you got me excited here. I want to bring you on camera. I have a little button here. If you can come on camera, it'd be great.
Okay, yeah, let me 1 second. Let me get out of the room here. Let me go into a
Oh,
different room.
absolutely.
No problem. I'll do that for you. Okay. Yeah, so I actually
And I'm pressing the
it
button here
was
first, so before you get started, I have a button here that'll bring you. Just save it, and it'll bring you on live. Oh, there you go.
hi,
And hey, holistic, it's great to meet you. I was reading all your great comments. What's your first name?
Shay.
Shay. Nice to meet you, Shay. And what
Nice
part
to
of the
meet you
earth are
too.
you? Yeah, what part of the earth are you in right now, or
So
are you?
I'm in the United States. I'm in Illinois.
Illinois. Okay, we've had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of great guests in Illinois. So
Hi
give us the
guys.
background of how things started in your life with the light beings.
Oh, well, I've only had one encounter that I gravely remember very vividly. Um, it was a very interesting experience. I was actually in my home that I'm in now. This happened, I want to say a year and a half ago. I was going through a lot of spiritual awakenings, a lot of a discernment, a lot of spiritual stuff. Like it was just a lot of things were unfolding for me. So I kind of get hit with everything at the same time, which is like it was insane. But needless to say, I was downstairs and I was just doing normal activities. I was laying on the floor and I had my eyes closed. I wasn't necessarily meditating. I just had fallen asleep and then all of a sudden it was almost like my body jolted. But when I had woken up into this state that I'm in right now, I remembered what happened and had remembered that it's like somebody was operating on me. It was the strangest experience.
Hmm.
Um, what I had remembered was laying there and I couldn't see myself. But when I turned and looked over, I saw what you would naturally see, like how they depict a light body, like just basically a silhouette of light. And that's exactly what it looked like. And I had never seen that before. And it was two of them just kind of like moving around, like doing something. Like I heard them talking, but it didn't sound like talking. It just sounded like muffled, like, but it was kind of like really high pitched. And then
Oh
they were
wow.
like talking about me. And I felt that they were talking about me, but it was more so not really knowing what they were saying. But
Right.
I was going through a lot of things during my life at that time. So it was kind of like, it was very strange. It was very odd. I've never
Mm.
experienced anything like that before. Um, but I also did, when I was younger, have an experience with like levitating. So
Oh wow.
I had a traumatic experience. It always happens when it's something traumatic. Like I don't know why. But I had a traumatic experience with an older man that was trying to like coerce me and another girl into like a bad situation. So, anyways,
Oh
I got
okay.
out of that and everything was
Okay.
fine. Nothing happened to me, but
Good.
I had nightmares for like a week. And my mom, she slept on the floor with me, and he had given me this stuffed animal, right? And so I just like, ended up throwing it out, but I had it with me that night for some reason. Like I don't know why. I was a kid. I
Right.
didn't know any better. But I was laying on the floor and then when I woke up out of my sleep, I was literally off the ground and I smacked onto the floor.
Oh my
It
gosh.
wasn't a jolt. You know how you wake up out of your sleep and you're like that, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
like that. It was literally my whole body was off of the floor and I smacked the floor. And but when I was dreaming, it was like I was falling from a building. And that's
Wow.
exactly how I came back to my state of awakened in this form. And, I
Wow.
didn't understand that dream until I got older and kind of like put things together, that
Yeah.
I was doing something clearly, having different experiences and not really recognizing what was happening. I've also seen a guardian angel of mine. I like to call her that because when I was 11, I actually saw her in the corner of my eye. She was watching me. So
That's beautiful.
I've had some different experiences with
Yeah.
beings. I've also had experiences with darker entities. So those were very scary as well. I've seen attachments. I've seen attachments on people. I've dealt with some demonic things, like all types of stuff. So I've got a whirlwind of
So have you been
experiences.
able to have you been able to know how to um, control what you want to have come into your energy field? So, for example, when you mention those other things, the ones that are low vibrational, have you
Mhm.
been able to say, no, I don't want that anymore, and you're not having that experience anymore? Do you
Yes.
control that
Yes, I have.
situation?
Yes, I have. That was very difficult for me to do. It took I think some of the things I was going through in my life kind of catapulted me into that
Hmm.
direction.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the experiences and some of these experiences that I was dealing with, I won't be too direct because they are very personal, but
Yeah.
some of the experiences that I was dealing with were actually DNA related. They were ancestral, so like
Hmm.
ancestral traumas,
Okay. Yeah.
from past lives or from my own parents. You know, because
Hmm.
when our parents don't heal certain things, they actually give them to us.
Right.
So they're in
We
our
get what they do. Yeah. Yeah. We what's
exactly.
the word? We get their DNA from being born. So then we have
Mm-hmm.
to deal with it, and then we have to translate it or
Mm-hmm.
transform it to a much higher frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was very scary too because I didn't really know what was going on and it was trickling into my marriage. So that was like messed up. But once I realized what was happening, I automatically knew what to do. It was like
Hmm.
intuition just kind of kicked in, and I was like, okay, this is not my SHIT. Like, this is
Right.
not mine. This is
Right.
not who I am. And I know this is not for me. So, right then and there, I knew I needed to start practicing some self care methods. And I needed to start going within more because at that state, I wasn't meditating. I wasn't doing any form of meditating. I was just doing a lot of like, woe is me kind of things like why is this happening
Right.
to me, what is going on, like I don't know what to do, a lot of praying, because I grew up Catholic and Christian. There's like a lot of different things going on with me, and I was being put and as I started diving further these past few years, I realized that, not to touch on religion, but it's kind of necessary, right? It puts us in a box. And when we get put in a box and we become more narrow minded to one specific way of thinking, it actually hinders our growth spiritually. And that's very
Right.
dangerous for us because we are not what somebody is putting in a book and what they say we should be, because we are so
Hmm.
much
Hmm.
more than that,
Hmm.
way
Hmm.
more than what we actually think that we are. And it's our job, um, as an individual to figure out, yes, we shouldn't focus on the past, but it's very important to know who you were in the last lifetimes, because if you can't remember those things, which
Right.
I don't remember some stuff from my early childhood, I don't
Yeah.
remember a thing. But there are some things that I've just recently been able to uncover about myself. I was in the mystery schools. I was one of the high priestesses under Isis's wing. And
Oh,
when I
cool.
found that out, I was like, holy crap. I was like, that's so cool,
Yeah.
Now I understand why I'm so interested into herbal medicine, why
Yeah.
I'm so interested into spirituality. Like I just didn't understand it until I actually started to figure out what it was that makes me tick. What are my
Yeah.
likes? What do I like? What and that also helps you figure out, okay, if you have that thing, that inclination inside yourself where you're like, I feel like I want to help people, like I just have this dire need to help people, and you just
Hmm.
don't know what you're supposed to be doing, because I struggled with that for years and years, like my whole life.
Wow. Yeah.
I struggle, like I just want to help people, like I don't know what to do. And then just recently I'm like, okay, well, Reiki, like I practice Reiki. I'm under L, Simply L. She was on your live
Oh,
the other
okay.
day.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
under her wing
She's
right
yeah.
now, and she's helping me with my spiritual growth
Oh,
and things
cool.
of that nature. So,
Cool.
you know, but yeah, those are my experiences
Yeah.
with just life, dude. And if anybody needs help with some of those things, you're more than welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions, especially about like the darker stuff, because I dealt with quite a few entities that were very vicious. And they also like they attacked me and my husband. So like I have a lot of discernment in dealing with that type of situation. So if anybody needs any help with it, I'm be happy to help you.
People, you have
Oh, we're
like
having
galactic things that um, I don't know for me.
hold on, we're breaking up a tidbit
Is everything
here.
okay?
There we go.
Okay.
Now I gotcha. You said something about
Okay,
the
good.
Galactic Federation.
uh, well, no, not so much that the galactic beings, the space people, the star
Mm,
people. So when you
hmm
have the connection with the light people, hearing your story, and a lot of people have gone through where low vibe ETs were they were getting abducted, and then they also had connections with the higher vibrational people, the space people, and I've helped
hmm
many people learn how to, in Christ consciousness, completely stop that. And
Yes.
so I assume, I'm not assuming, well, yeah, I am assuming at this point in your life that you know what Christ consciousness is and you have that protection around you to avoid any of that other stuff ever happening again in your life, correct or
Yes,
incorrect?
sir, I do. I'm in direct essence. I have Sophia essence in me. I direct divine feminine energy. I've also uncovered that I'm also with the Galactic Federation, and I've got a few things on my belt as far as the Rose Division specifically is one that sticks out to me. But I am a flame holder, and I do hold a few of the flames, and I am part of the 144,000. So I have a really big mission and I'm just trying to help people, dude. Like I don't
Yeah.
need the credentials or the
No, nobody
admiration of
needs
it.
them. Yeah, there are no
I
credentials. You
just
know what I mean?
yeah, I just want to help. I just want to help so bad to help people like heal and this is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm also a tattoo artist. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, me and my husband's been a long time tattoo artist and he's also part of the Galactic Federation. He's a lineman, so we both have like a huge like mission, and we're just trying to help people, do like honestly, and it's been
Yeah,
difficult navigating through like the void of things, and just kind of trying to understand like what's going on, especially with like the energetic push and pull of stuff.
right.
Because there's a lot of distractions and there's a lot of like things that will distract a person when they have like a higher mission at hand, or I should say a specific mission at hand, and it actually causes the person to deter off their path. So it's very important to keep like and maintain a proper self-care routine for yourself. And that is something that I've struggled with for so freaking long.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
meditation is definitely something that I will attest to, as far as that goes. Herbs, herbal medicine, anything plant-based related is key. And then also I will say this too, I feel inclined to say this, but whatever
right.
your blood type is, please learn what you need to eat per your blood type because that will help you while you're transitioning and going through all of these things.
Yeah. The other thing I tell people, and people always ask me on my show, I'm a contactee from the 60s. I had contact with space family in a cul-de-sac in a spaceship looking out the window, going upstairs.
That's
I have a
interesting.
brother who was downstairs. He's 8 years older than I am. And then my parents and my grandmother. And nobody went upstairs. I had the inclination before I was a teenager to go upstairs. And for some reason, go in my brother's room, open his wooden blinds, there is a flying saucer hovering in the night, and with like a beautiful silhouette of light around it. And I see all these space people in blue outfits, beautiful outfits, and they were blue. And I keep getting they were blue and they had gold rims around them. They were just beautiful, and they were
Wow.
men and women and young adults. And that was the only time I had a real clear visual of my whole life. That was the only time that happened, but it was enough to wake me up as a kid to say, they told me, you're not from here. You're not from this world. You're not from this planet, but you're here. And as I got older,
hmm
I woke up. I became fully awakened to who I was, my space consciousness. That didn't happen until later on. I mean, I
That's
had
so
many
cool.
experiences, So when I'm talking about this stuff, it's important that people realize that it's not so much the blood type that's important, it's the more important that people wake up
Mm-hmm.
to the reality of their cosmic origin. And,
Yeah.
people say, Commander, if I don't have the right blood type, am I connected to my space
Elle
family?
is here.
It,
Hi, Elle. Sorry, I cut
you
you
know,
off.
it doesn't matter if they are point B plus G or whatever. It's a matter of people getting themselves to break out of the 3D mode of consciousness. And
Yeah,
that takes time, because each person like yourself, if you can help 10 people in Chicago wake up to a cosmic reality, that is a beautiful thing. We each have
absolutely.
to do that. Wherever we are, it's a domino effect. We each are a positive domino that will affect consciousness all over the planet.
Right, right. Absolutely. And
That's the key.
once you realize, like, a lot of the people that I've encountered, like, it's crazy because I find you guys on social media, and it's like, they try to use social media to downplay a lot of things, but where they effed up at is, hey, guess what? Now we're able to connect to each other a lot easier. So thank
Right.
you,
And
because
that's
without
why they
this, we
want to
wouldn't have been able to.
well that's why they're trying to take this medium down, no matter how.
Mhm.
Some people, I see these videos recently, how people say, "Oh, TikTok has changed." Well, if it's changed, then why am I still here freely talking about this subject? If it's changed so much, if you know, well, they don't let me talk about this. If you have a certain, look, I've been through the TikTok thing on my show when I've done certain things that I thought had nothing to do with anything, and I got reported. But I'm still here.
Mm,
I fight for my rights in terms of what I do here because I've never really done anything that I would consider to be objectable except telling the truth. And
yeah,
I have too much knowledge not to have people. That's why I interview people on here because I want people to
yeah.
realize they're safe on this show, the number one talk show here on social media on TikTok for 3 years. And I don't
Mm,
care if someone has 10,000 people viewing their show. I'm consistently on here for 3 years doing what I'm doing, and numbers mean nothing. If people find me, great. If they want to listen to the show, be a guest on the show, that's exactly what we'll do. And that's what we're doing. So I want to thank you so much for coming up here and
absolutely.
sharing
Yeah,
your
I
story.
appreciate it.
It's
Absolutely. Thank you
important.
so much.
And I'm following you now, so
Sounds good.
you'll get addicted to the show. We're usually on 11. Once in a while, I'll take a break because I need to regenerate the energy. I take a break once in a while, but
Yeah.
mostly here at 11 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some more conversations.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
chiming in. I'll be on here more often as far as on your channel and whatnot. So
Oh,
I'll do
great.
my best to help. If anyone has questions with anything, I'll whatever I can answer, I could do for you guys. But yeah, thank you.
Shay, thank you very much in Chicago. And Chicago is a place where we know at what's that big airport you have in Chicago? I forgot the name of it already. But anyway, that
American.
no, what's the airport where they had the UFO thing happen a couple number of years ago over the airport? Everybody saw it, airline pilots. It was it was
See, I don't even watch the news. Like, I just stopped. I try to
yeah.
watch it here and
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
but
yeah.
man,
Oh, it's
I
O'Hara. That's
unplug.
right.
I
Thank you.
unplug.
O'Hara. This is how much
O'Hare.
I
Mm-hmm.
keep concentrating. O'Hara Airport is where they had this huge spaceship or object, and also it was hovering, and everybody saw it. The workers on the ramps, the people, the airline pilots. The
Didn't know
thing
that.
just like
Wow.
shot up through the clouds and created a hole in the cloud and went up. So you're in Illinois. There's a lot of activity. So, all right, Shay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
We're going to let you down. Thank you, everybody, for mentioning
Perfect.
O'Hara Airport. This is driving me nuts. I couldn't figure out what it was. And, we're going to do some more interviews here on Encounters. You're watching the number one spiritual UFO talk show. I'm your host, CmdrAleon. Welcome to the show. And if you have a story to share about an encounter with space beings, if you've ever been taken on a ship, um, you know, then we're interested in hearing your story. And please type in not big letters. Let's see, how and when do we get to know who we really are and our purpose here on Earth? Let's see who's asking that question. So we're going to bring up Rocky Boy Joe, professor of law, author, course creations, United States Air Force, and veteran. That's great. We're going to bring that. If they want to come up, they can definitely come up and join us here. Rocky Boy Joe, we're going to bring him up. Fantastic.
Yeah, good evening. Hello.
Hey, Good to have you with us. How you doing, brother?
Doing a lot better. I was in the hospital, so I got out. Had a leak in my
Okay.
stomach, and they had
Oh,
to
why?
repair,
Okay.
they had to repair that. So I lost about 40 pounds. You can see my
Oh my God.
face is a lot skinnier.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here, brother, and I'm glad you're on the show with us. So tell us where you are and tell us about your experiences, because I get the feeling, even with your question, you've had some things happen on the cosmic level in your life, correct?
Yeah, I've been on the show before talking
Yes, you
about it
have.
a little. Yeah, talking about it a little about Bigfoot interdimensionally. He's a
That's
spirit,
right.
and we have ceremonies where he comes in, and then he's a physical being, but he can go
Yes.
in and out. He can go in and out of these ports, and he's like a he's a protector of the trees and the forest, and he's a like an older brother to us,
Yeah.
Nistas, older brother, and he protects and he teaches us how to take care of the land. Uh,
Mm.
but but there's a lot of um, uh, we have a lot of not, I guess, mismanagement because we have so much people are not taking care of the land with all the disruption under the ground and above. We don't even know some of that knowledge ourselves because it was stripped away from us historically. But seeing UFOs at an early age and having them follow us, and my brother and I, my dad would say, he would come into the room and he would say, we're speaking in a different language to ourselves while we're
Right.
asleep. So different things just happening. I was a sleepwalker, and a lot of things just happening throughout my life. Always being spiritually aware of these beings there, but they never really, you know, have come down and spoken to me like that. I've always
Yeah.
had those encounters, but I've had those encounters in dreams. I've had different beings speak to me and go. I guess it's like what they call uh,
Interdimensional.
yeah, when you're traveling,
Oh, yeah. Astral traveling. Yeah.
astro traveling, but it's to me it's always been like sleeping, and I would
Yeah.
dream, and I know I'm awake, and so I'm able to move around in my dreams that way. I've never noticed that I was awake, like astral.
Yeah.
I've never known that or understood that. And so I was just curious, with how many why now, and how when do you wake up? It's kind of like these movies where you saw um, Battlestar Galactica, where
Yeah. 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 I remember that. Yeah.
you eventually get turned on, and
Yeah.
you're awakened. Like, why is there
Yeah.
so many others awakened now? And then how does that? Do you have to ask for that, or does it automatically happen, or what?
I think it's a two level. It's a great question. So, and I can talk from my experience that my waking up is not when I woke up. It didn't always manifest in me. Like some people have good cosmic dreams. They can remember going onto a spaceship. For me, what happened to me was the opposite. I became telepathic when I became awake to communicate with my star family. That happened to me. I have not always the easiest time. I know I go off out of body, and probably I travel in the universe. I'm absolutely certain of that. I never always remember visualization of what happened to me in the morning when I wake up. Other people have like this clear vision of exactly every detail what happened when they went out of body. So, like you, I have those kind of things happen to me too. So, there's a lot of us that are spiritually awakened, but we just can't remember everywhere we go when we leave our physical body, astral traveling, or in what we call the Merkaba state. And I talked about the Merkaba state the other night. What I would say is that the reason why they are coming here now is because it's divine timing.
Mhm.
This planet is billions of years old, right? So when people look at the history of our planet being billions and billions of years old, what do you think happened billions of years ago? There were civilizations that were very high vibrational that lived on Earth. There were civilizations that were very low vibrational. It's like a seesaw. We've been on a seesaw for billions of years. We know about at least a very little bit about Atlantis, Lemuria, the land of Mu, the subterranean cities that exist in our inner Earth, the Agartha network. These are living cities of people that are advanced living in our Earth. But we're the surface dwellers, and their consciousness is been way, way higher than our consciousness living here on the surface. Why is that? Well, and who knows the answer to that? But we are now elevating. We're all coming together. We have come a long way. We have things like the TikTok, for example, on Earth. We're all over the world, different languages, different people, different experiences. But we're all talking to each other. Like you and I are communicating, and I'm hosting the show. We're having communications. We're sharing questions. We're elevating our consciousness and getting prepared for contact. And the reason why we are, because it's time. It's time that we finally get reunited with our star family. And we are part of a star family. And when I say that in galactic general terms. And I also say that because we all have a biological star family that are on other planets that we're connected to that we have not met yet. But we will. And this is our time to do it. We're not here to wait another 10,000 years for it to happen. Now, there are some people that say, oh, I don't believe there's going to be this connection happening. I don't believe you people are going to, meet some star people from another planet. Those people completely got it wrong. They don't, because they're not totally invested in the knowledge. When you have the knowledge, as you do have the knowledge. And when you talk about the Bigfoot that are protecting the Earth, the Bigfoot are part of our space family. The only time they yell and scream is because they don't want the human beings who are trying to track them down to capture them. They're not like animals that are to be captured. They're highly intelligent, and they can speak many languages. They can even speak English. They don't do it because not that all of us are like this, but the whole thing with the Bigfoot or the Sasquatches and the abominable snowman is that we look at them as being something that we can prey on, meaning that we need to capture them, that they're like a bear in the woods or a deer. They're not. They're highly intelligent, and they've been around here for billions of years. They can go through dimensions. They're interdimensional. They can go in and out and say, where are they? They just disappeared. How can they disappear? Because they're not from here. That's why they can disappear. So when we talk about this beautiful thing and this relationship with the Bigfoot, with the angelic beings, which are part of the galactics, and we talk about the mer people that live in our oceans, that they are real. When we talk about the fairies, so how many people believe in fairies? What is a fairy? A fairy is here on Earth to also assist in the transformation. So growing up, would I have ever thought this way? No. As I was a kid, I never thought about any of this stuff being possibly real. But when I woke up, I understood everything is interconnected, people. The fairies, the Bigfoot, the mer people, the space people that come from other planets. Everything is intertwined. Everything is so connected that when we realize that, that's when we wake up, And as we speak to each other, we're speaking in vibrational tones in our words, right? When you speak to me, you're speaking in your knowledge about what you're talking about, the Earth, the protection of our planet. You're speaking in a knowledge that you understand, and you came here to be an Earth protector. Now, whatever planet you came from, I'm not totally sure yet, but you're going to find out when contact happens, and you're going to meet your space family too, brother. You will.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have Hopi prophecies of this side of the world that have foretold about the four races coming together and the two tablets from each direction, and
Yes.
that's 8 tablets. I talked about that on John's post one time about the Hopi prophecies, and it's all up on and it takes days to go through it, but it's all on the hieroglyphics up on Mesa, on the third Mesa out there. So it's not something that I told, and it was Thomas Binyaka. He was already 80 years old when he was talking about those prophecies. So it's been for a long, long time. It goes way back to the flood, and when we came from under the ground with the ant people, and they talk about the ant people, other sides of the world as well, and that the ant people were helping us come up out of the ground, and you see that all around the world. People are living underground. There's all these
Yeah,
huge worlds that, like, how did they do that for like 100, 200 years?
that's
And
right.
it's pretty cool that we came out and we're in this fourth world according to that prophecy, and we're all going to come together. And so I guess I've been awake. I've seen these things. I've known about
Yeah.
them, but it's just I wanted to be more awakened that I could actually talk with them. But I guess they don't. I don't know why, but I mean they don't want us to be fully 100% with our brain or something. I don't know because
Are you talking about the and who doesn't want us to be 100% with our brain?
no, I don't know. I mean, I'm just
Oh,
saying
you're
that.
not sure. Oh, I
I
got
mean,
you. You're
to be
wondering.
like telepathic. I mean, if like
Hmm.
we were to use that, then we would maybe use it in a wrong way for against the rest of the humans here. I don't
Well,
know.
I can answer your question. I see where you're coming from. So we are going to be galactic in our consciousness. When contact happens, we're going to be galactic. When I say that, the consciousness we have here is going to elevate and go straight up higher. When our consciousness goes up higher, our spiritual vibration goes up higher. We're not going to be the same humans we were right tonight, on this evening, on a Wednesday night. We're going to be way different. We're going to be when we have the contact. That's going to be the point of no return, meaning that we are now going to change the way we live. uh, Humanity is going to change the way it lives on this earth. Earth people are not going to live, for the material things of having a new car, having a big mansion, having the biggest yacht on the water versus somebody else who has a little boat. It's not going to be that kind of society. We are going into a society that is going to be so much different in the way we live, people who are watching this. We're going to be living in harmonious relationship with all that is, and that is including the Creator. The Hopi prophecies and the Hopi are very beautiful. The Hopi had a great knowledge, and the spiritual elders that have brought the information down from generation of Hopi to the generation of Hopi. And I met a Hopi elder in Connecticut once at a shop that sold indigenous things from different tribal nations. And this Hopi elder was he's tall. He was an older person, and he just didn't say a word. I looked at him, he smiled, and I knew he had knowledge. He didn't say one word, but you knew he had the knowledge. He had the galactic knowledge. And I didn't even ask him anything. I just looked at him. I said, I understand. That's all I had to know. He knew the knowledge. And the Hopi have a great understanding of what's happening. They know about the star nations, they know about the star people, and they've always known. And all the different tribal nations in, let's say, this landmass here that we're on, they understand from generation to generation the four corners they just talk about. All the nations come together and they will meet. And when these nations come together, will be the gathering of all people when the star people come here, which are coming by the end of this year. We're going to have contact with all
Oh,
the star
good.
people. Yeah, just to let you know, you know. So now you can have some peace of mind about that question. They are coming.
Yeah.
They're already here.
Yeah, that validates a lot of what I've been told by Thomas Binyaka. He was an elder. He goes, but I'm not a spirit. I'm not a leader. I'm not anything. I'm just a man, a young man in his 80s, and he was saying, "I'm just telling what my elders have told me. I'm trying to get the message out." And this was back in the 70s when I met him. It was pretty cool to have heard those stories being told, and but they do it in their ceremony all the time. They start off with a corn ceremony every morning, and they do that all the time, and very very spiritually connected to the star beings, and yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you can tell that in your energy that you're very connected. You have a very peaceful soul. I know I've interviewed you before, and you're an enlightened person. You're not walking the walk of the crowd on the streets of New York, going with suitcases, trying to be like robots, going to the office at Wall Street or something. you walk a different drummer. You are a different drummer, and you have a beautiful soul. As I read your energy, always, I always know that when I talk to you, you have that understanding, and you question things to get knowledge, which we all should do. And I think there's things I don't know that I'll quietly look at things or a video or something and say, that sounds very familiar to me. So we're all in this together. No matter how much knowledge I have, I still feel I'm always every day learning something new here, and I learn from yourself as a friend. I learn from questions. I think it's a beautiful synergy of energy that we all bring here on the show, and I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to come up and ask a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just really important that we do this thing, and that's why I'm
Yeah, because
committed to
we,
this show the way we are.
the way I look at it, we all have gifts, and it's kind of hard to put a price on each gift. Everyone's got an equal gift, and I'm not of this material world. We come in with nothing, we leave with nothing, and we always have ceremonies of giving away. You even have a ceremony once you give a gift, get a gift. There's a ceremony of there's a dance ceremony where you're honoring the person that gave you this gift. So we always have gift giving, and it's all about give. The more you give away, the more
Right,
you are seen as higher in the community, which is a kind of different from a Western thought. They're all about
right,
building. How much can you accumulate? Like
right.
uh, the EMs of the world.
Yeah. When we give, like sometimes I'll see somebody or friends of mine, and I'll say, yeah, we might have a crystal, because I have a lot of crystals. I'll say, you know what? I think they can use this crystal, and I'll give them a crystal, and that's just an exchange of friendship. It's saying, here, you need this crystal. I want you to have this crystal. It has good energy. It's a high frequency. It will help you, but you have to do the work. It's just the crystal is activated, but you need to do the work. It's not going to do it for you.
Yeah,
So I completely relate to that. And that goes back to the spiritual elders. They believe in the exchange of their knowledge and passing it down from generation to generation, which I think is very important that we all learn and that's what we're going to find out when we have contact. We're not going to be thinking about, oh, wow, I didn't get, I couldn't buy that house. I don't have that house that's $100,000. Who cares? You know, I'd rather have a small apartment where I'm not spending, a large rate on my mortgage and wonder if I'm going to have the house next year. I don't have to worry about that because for us, we rent. We've been renting all our lives, but we love where we are in a way, and we rent, and we're able to just go about our lives. We can do everything the person that has $100 million house, and we don't have to have a big Mercedes Benz or all that stuff, which I wouldn't want anyway. I
yeah.
just want to keep my life simple and liberate the planet. That's really the important thing.
Yeah, that's what we've always believed in. The property law was brought to us from Europe. We didn't believe in owning property, and it was
Yeah.
collectively. They had territory boundaries, but still within the territory boundaries, nobody really owned it.
No, everyone lived in a harmonious relationship
Yeah,
until the Western civilization came to what they call North America. Um, there wasn't any ownership. People lived universally with everything here.
yeah,
You didn't have factories or you didn't have wars going on with bombs or any of that stuff. That was created by those that came and invaded, in a sense, cultures that had been here for way longer than the ones that came here. Hey, I
yeah,
want to thank you for being on here, man, and
yep.
having a conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Always, always, brother.
I'll
All
be
right, Rocky
on.
Boy, we're gonna bring Joe down, and let me do this here, everybody. And this is Encounters. Yeah, countdown. Yeah. So if you wish to be a guest on the show on Encounters, please tell me what you want to talk about. If you've been having direct contact with space people recently, been taken on a spaceship, have had whatever kind of experience, I think Cimmerian, I think Cimmerian wants to be a guest. I believe so. Cimmerian has 24 followers. I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe, TikTok is kind of weird. So we'll try to bring up, you got to be over 18. No kids on the show. Thank you for the gift. No cursing on the show. No smoking on the show. No drinking. No drunks on the show. No religion. No paranormal discussion. No politics. And no egotistical people that are going all over the ego. We've seen that before. Thank you for the gifts. Let's see if this is going to work. This could work because TikTok, yeah, it works. He's got, I don't know what the levels of TikTok are anymore in audio. Cimmerian, welcome to the show.
Greetings. How do you turn on the video for myself?
Uh, you have to get up to, I think, 300 followers. So unfortunately, you're not there yet, but you'll get there as now you're coming on the show here. People can start following you, and that's a good thing. Tell us a little bit of your background. What's your first name?
My name is Rio, Rio, and my family's from Bolivia.
Oh, beautiful. Bolivia has had a history, as much as the many South American countries, of the Star Nation, Star people. Tell us about your experience growing up as a kid and how you became awakened and what your experiences have been in this life.
So I was always a quiet kid when I was young, just enjoying the normal life path like everyone else. And then maybe when I was in my 20s, well, actually, I moved too fast. Um, my family decided to move to Boston, Massachusetts because my oldest brother had a hip problem. So he was walking like the people that walk side to side. So the technology in Bolivia wasn't really that vast like Boston technology was. So
Yeah.
everyone decided to move to Boston, my brother. And then, everyone got settled here to live here, a new life. Um, Upon my journey here in Boston, as where I was reborn, I think maybe when I was in my 20s, I had a Jeep, and the house that we lived was behind the first house. And when I was reversing, trying to squeeze in between the first house and the picket fence on the right, looking at the side mirrors from left to right, once I passed that reversing, then I looked at the rear view mirror. And when I looked away and when I looked at it, I was like, what? I just seen something. And it almost looked like it was like glassy type ship in the end of the driveway. And then I drove back. I got out. I ran to the area. I'm like where is it? I'm trying to touch the ship or whatever I viewed that was glassy looking. And I later found out that was a cloaking ship, but I wasn't sure who it was.
Hmm.
And so fast forward, I'm in my 30s, and my cousin opened up a gym called Mike's Fitness in Jamaica Plain, Boston. That's where I
Hmm.
was at. And so I'm working out there, eating chicken and greens, and I wanted to lose more fat, back fat and stomach fat. So I found these yoga exercises on YouTube, and but they didn't say what if they were from this culture or this culture. It just basically just said this is what's gonna help you to lose more fat. At
Hmm.
that time, I was taking a bottle called Tonalin CLA,
Hmm.
and this is body fat. And the fine print, I ignored this fine print because I was reading the back of the bottle. It said removes heavy metals from bloodstream.
Hmm.
So I'm drinking a gallon of water each day going to gym. And one day when I got out of gym, I was on my way to the bus stop. I got on the bus. After a few minutes, I started sensing this superconductor power in my lower abdominal stomach rising high and low back to back for 33 minutes nonstop.
Hmm.
I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what is going on? And I only had like a half a second to breathe in and out. Like
Oh, wow.
it was that intense. And
Hmm.
the journey lasted all the way to my house. I got on my bed. I'm thinking like this is gonna last forever, and it finally stopped. Unknowingly that my journey was about to begin, and you know how journeys begins, but my journey began like 1 year later.
Yeah.
So fast forward that on YouTube, I found a YouTube channel by this person called Dr. Stephen Greer, and basically he talks about his life and everything, and he wants people to make contact with the star people and the extraterrestrials and the families out there. And
Hmm.
it was really beautiful because I never knew about that, and so then I bumped into this other person. His name is David Woodcock. He has a website called divinecosmos.com, and
Hmm.
the list is called All Inclusive List of Dietetic No-Nos. And
Hmm.
that list basically says what is cancer from A to Z, and basically to try to, since I was a meat eater, try to get to the vegan food without the sodium and salt, intense vegan
Hmm.
food. Um,
Wow. I'm familiar with David Wilcox. He's been around on the journey for years. Very interesting.
yes. So upon my journey, eating the intense vegan food without the sodium and salt and the watercress to decalcify the pineal glands, barefoot grounding, join groups on Zoom calls to heal the world with love. Even I went in my own city to decrease the violence and the peace and love in my city, but I drained my power and I was so weak for like a few
Hmm.
weeks because I found that
Wow.
it's better to do with others. And so in my journey, I um, painted one of my bedroom walls a pistachio light green at night
Okay.
2 times. So the next day, I went to the bedroom to look at it at daytime. I have one window, but the window has like a white shade to block the sun, and so when the sun hits the shade, it creates like the soft white light in the daytime.
Yeah.
And so I go to the wall and I start to caress the wall, and I'm just like putting my hands on the wall, palms, and just like caressing the wall, and then just loving just the appreciation of the colors. And all of a sudden, all this love started pouring out of me,
Oh
and
wow.
I stepped back, and it was these rainbow colors called a rainbow
Hmm.
body. And I grabbed my phone. It's like a mini iPad. I started to record. I knew what it was: light body, rainbow body, and I'm moving my arm to show everyone to view, let everyone view this is the rainbow body,
Right.
and so and after that, during my adventure, I the intense vegan, right? I opened a new chapter called Cleanse Vegan, and what Cleanse
Cleanse
Vegan,
vegan.
yes, and what Cleanse Vegan is basically you get like say a couple cylinders, tall cylinders, like one of those cylinders that you place the cereal inside, the tall bins,
Yeah.
and you cut up the vegetables and you place them in there. Say like all the peppers that are orange, yellow, blue, green, and you just place it inside there. Put high pH water to allow 24 hours to suck out all the contaminants that was grown with the sugar, the chemicals, and
Yeah.
kind of like flush out all the bad stuff, almost like you're trying to get the best of the gold of the vegetables to be tasteless.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're because I was thinking, I was getting thoughts like upload saying, hey, if you want to be pure like a prism, you have to purify yourself this way. There's also celibacy, like
Hmm.
non-sexual, zero drugs, zero
Right.
alcohol, love and more love, and eventually, after the rainbow body, I obtained the thing called prism eyes.
Hmm.
Prism eyes is like where your chakra merges with both of your physical eyes,
Hmm.
and then what you could view is you could view the geometries from the lights outside, like
Oh, cool.
they create hexagons,
Hmm.
and so last November 2024, on top of a mountain near me, I went there, and there was like a bunch of cars there. People like listen to music, young kids, and
Yeah.
then out of sudden there were these black tinted window cars who pulled up around there. They knew my intentions, they had some sort of power of thought to make these
Hmm.
kids go get out of here to exit.
They,
So
the kids left.
the kids
So
like
that's really
they all left at the same time, like almost like a chain. Like they just
and let me say something. The cars that came up where you were, they were all dark windows. What kind of
yeah.
cars were they? They were.
They
Can you
were like
explain that a bit?
I would say like SUV, Jeep, just
Oh, that it sounds like government interference.
yeah. But they knew who I was, and I think I went too fast over. So when I obtained the rainbow body, I in between that I had a dream vision of my past life,
Hmm.
and I was in this beautiful cavern in the underground, and this cavern was so beautiful that I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. This feels like home. And 15 feet away from me and from the backside, I viewed my past self. I was bald headed. I didn't have a shirt on. I was athletic. I had black pants on. So I'm like, oh, what type of master am I? Bald headed, athletic, without a shirt, black pants on. I couldn't view my hands, so I shifted from right to left. And in an angle from left to right, I looked at my hands, and my hands are out, like out front. And under the hands were a chunk of water levitated in midair. It was so beautiful that I was like, how did I do this? How did I do this in my past?
Wow.
Looking between the water and the palms. So the water froze. My eyes unbolted. It was like 9:30 a.m. I went online and I found out that I was submerged in a cave in a lot of water.
Oh wow.
My
Let me go backwards a bit
yes,
because
yes, yes.
the kids were doing their thing. They tailed out of there. You were there, and in this area you were in, were there a lot of? Was it like?
Apart.
Was it? Explain the area to my audience here, because that is. I
Yes.
keep getting as you're talking information. I'm trying to figure out why those government SUVs were there, and how did they know you were there?
Um, I think it's more like, I've been visited for so much for my family. I could backtrack. So on my journey to being celibate, and staying celibate, I would get these astro spiders, astro spiders, right?
Hmm.
They would jump at me to basically take fear energy called loosh. And each day, as my vibrations were getting stronger, something said to laugh at them. So I started laughing at these astral spiders, and eventually they started just, they would come and they would show. I would My eyes would like unbolt, like I'd say toward midnight. I would view them on these. It would look like a string, a fishing line string that goes straight from the
Hmm.
ceiling, a straight one.
And what a people? One person, Sandra's asking, what is an astral spider? I've never heard that myself.
Yes, and astral spider just looks like a spider, but it's from an astral world where these entities like are negative. They're like negative entities who basically feed on sexual or drugs. People would use drugs or alcohol or sexual to basically
Okay.
or fear to take the energy from you
Hmm.
and so
Hmm.
one night after getting stronger and these astral spiders stop appearing. One night, I remember my eyes unbolted. It was like 1 a.m. And I opened my eyes and I seen this huge spider. This spider was actually the size of a basketball. It was on the ceiling. It didn't
Hmm.
move, but I was looking at it. It was so huge, like a tarantula.
Hmm.
So I think it was there. It was probably the biggest. My intentions is that it was there to suck me out. Like basically, like it must have been like the most elite astral spider ever.
Hmm.
So
And was this happening? I want to give some perspective here.
okay,
So, in your journeys,
yes.
um, would you say that in this time in your life that you have had encounters with space beings through your life at some point. And what you're talking about now is because you want to keep your body clear like a temple, is what I'm getting.
Yes.
That the purity of your temple, so to speak, I talk the body as being the temple,
Yes.
um, that in your case, you had these lower vibrational beings or whatever trying to stop you from expanding your light energy, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. In a nutshell, I just want to so my audience understands the where we're going. I listened to the whole story, so now I think people now understand it. I'm just translating what you're saying to my audience, which is all over the place,
Yes.
and that's important. And so, where do you see yourself in terms of your? You have your you know you have a mission of some sort being on Earth. You have something that you're here to do for the planet, just like all of us. What do you think your ultimate mission is here in this
My
time?
ultimate my ultimate mission is to teach 100 first, for free to all anyone who basically has a strong soul to path the pure path with love, and also the same path similar as mine's to eat cleansing foods,
Hmm.
to get the power through meditation and basically walk the same path, because the path that I walked led me to who I was, and I thought that I was just a normal person, and
Hmm.
I would never thought that I would be from the Sumerian ancients civilization, and so that is my ultimate path to
Yeah,
basically make create a lot of masters and mystics and lords to also have them control the weather in
yeah.
Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I understand that. So when we look at Siberians and all the ancient civilizations of that time, a lot of those civilizations had contact with the Star Nation, what I call the Star People. There was a lot of back then. There was a lot of interaction going on. There always has been. So I want to say I appreciate your story, and
Yeah.
thank you very much for requesting to come up here and share a bit of your story on the show. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much. On my, I know I don't have, everyone has a lot of content. I
Yeah.
uploaded the rainbow body video of myself on
Oh,
my.
good.
So I wanted to show everyone to give them that they are this rainbow prism within them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another perspective of the galactic puzzle. And that's what I honor about my guests is that you all have different specific experiences.
Yes.
And you wouldn't hear about this on Good Morning America, but you'll hear about it here on Encounters. So I thank you, brother, for being here. And
Yes.
again, what was your first name?
Rio. Could I
Rio. Rio.
could I
Rio.
add could I add that when those teens left and all the cars left, there were a rectangle black ship and a few circular black ships. They had uh,
Really?
they had Sanskrit or Egyptian or Akkadian language written on them, and a few of them had geometries never seen before. But they were
Wait a
very
minute. So you actually now this is something. You actually when the green beans left were being very specifically using different wording. When the black vehicles left, you saw triangular ships with ancient writings on them. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, rectangular, and the others were circular.
Circular. Now that happened when the other vehicles left the area where you were located.
Yes. So when they had all those teams go, and then also they left also as well, I was there alone. And
Really? That's
yes, when
interesting, man. I didn't even know. I knew there was something that happened. Why would they just show up like that? Now, when they were there, you think they would have been there. Do you think that they were there because they knew that these spaceships were going to be there with you later?
yes, and
You do.
they know who I am. They know that I had prisonized. So when the November, the moon was close. So I remember far away when the moon was far away, and when I looked at the moon, it created a rainbow halo around it. So
Oh, interesting.
when the moon was closer, it created a rainbow halo around it, and that grabbed a lot of attention, from those two, you know,
So,
pinpoint.
so Rio, did you at the time when those ships appeared after those other vehicles left? What were you sensing about? I always like to ask the one last question here.
Yes.
What were you sensing about the energy of the circular and the rectangular craft in terms of the energy? Did you feel they were positive, negative, or neutral? What did you feel?
They were very positive, very loving. They were a few of them were half cloaked. One was uncloaked, but very loving, very accepting, and they knew that I had the prism eyes to view them in, transparent also.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was beautiful because that showed me that I have a lot of trust with them, and
Hmm.
they know my intentions, and my intentions is to teach people out there how to attain the Kundalini, the rainbow body,
Hmm.
and the prism
Right.
eyes.
So your goal, and now, do you currently communicate with the beings that you saw, that the ships that you saw? Did they communicate with you? Did they come visit you directly, like physically or in dream state?
I would say they visit me at like probably they used to visit me at 3 a.m. Now they visit
3
me
a.m.
at 9 a.m.
Now, tell us. I gotta ask you this question, Rio. What do they look like? Can you tell audience what they look like?
Um, it's really, really, I would say they're different heights because a few of them were high, tall, like beyond the ceiling that I have. So I would say probably like tall, some were short, some were tiny. So they're really all heights. Every review
Hmm.
that have you reviewed the um the movie with The Rock, how he's going against a predator and he has that they have that glassy look.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
beings that you say are tall, they're taller than as tall as your roof. That's, I mean, of your ceiling. They could be 11, 10, or 11 feet tall. But what did they physically look like? Can you
I
tell
would say
us?
probably they would look like um looking at their face because one of them went like this, like how you put your finger over your face and go like
Right.
shh. So they look like almost like could have been had all types of beings. So these beings look like uh I would say probably Bigfoot kind of.
Oh,
um
okay. Did
yes.
some of them have like space outfits on or any kind of space suit?
Yes. They
They
had
did.
when they went through the wall, they had something on their shoulders, and when they went through the wall, it would make like a glow to allow them to
Hmm.
walk through the wall.
So they were able to walk through the wall. Folks,
Exactly.
this is amazing. This is a part of the story that we hone in on, and everything about what you're doing physically, health wise,
Mhm.
I think helps facilitate your body being the temple, which I truly believe is a very important thing. So they were walking through your wall. Now, they come and visit you at 3 a.m. in the morning. How long do they stay with you? And do they speak in telepathic communications to you or with you when they're communicating with you and visiting you?
Um, they, I would say now it's like they've been almost trying to communicate with me. So I went online and I found a Akkadian English to Akkadian language translator.
Hmm.
So I wanted to them to understand what I'm trying to tell them, and I found also some hieroglyphic symbols and stuff like that, like water, heart. So I would draw them on the papers because my
Yeah.
intention to them, I want them to like I buy spring water. It says, hey, is it possible you could purify the water, that I drink?
Oh, you're
Um,
asking them. Are you asking them that question?
yes, I don't ask for much. I just only ask, that I want to, I tell them that I have the power of thought of whether through meditation, and I want to be able to get my power back to control the water, control
Hmm.
ocean. So
Interesting.
I want people to be able to use their abilities because I know people out there have these abilities.
Yeah. And it looks like when they visit you, they're operating from a, do you find that they're operating from a very high frequency or vibrational frequency when they visit you?
Yes, very high frequency. I remember at first in the beginning, the light, the a few of the stair lights would blink,
Really?
like blink lamp, like up and down, like the light would go small
Right.
light, highlight, small highlight. Yeah. So I
Wow.
guess
So they affect the energy, they affect the electricity in your home when they come. Their energy is so high up, folks, that it affects his electricity, the lighting in his humble abode, so to speak, correct?
yes, that's correct.
Interesting, man. Rio, this is a part of the story. I knew we were going to get to this because we had to hear the other part of your life to get to where this was.
Yes,
And so now, so you're having regular contact with
yes,
multiple space people,
yes.
including, and I'm going to say it's now, this is interesting.
Mhm.
The tall one with a lot of hair, when you mention a lot of hair, that is called a Sasquatch. So are you being visited by Sasquatch?
Yeah, I'm worried that I'm being visited by a few advanced races. I would say
Hmm.
Sasquatch, the Sumerian ancients, and another one I unable to put my thought into, but they're
Hmm.
just highly advanced. Like they, you know how when you go outside in the wintertime and you could view like the ET tracks, like the different feet and stuff.
Yeah,
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 yeah. And that the
yeah.
strides
So,
also is so long.
mhm. And what planets do, I got to ask you this question. Have they told you what planets they come from? Any of the different space races that are visiting you and coming into your house?
No, I did have after the astral travel to the other world, where I
Hmm.
was able to visit them in their own world, which is
Hmm.
really beautiful because um, during my transformation, I viewed these small portals that were about 2 foot away, 2 feet away from my ceiling,
Hmm.
and these portals were to basically go I guess my energy or photons to go through them and to get to these other worlds.
Hmm.
And the reason why they were 2 foot away, 2 feet away from the ceiling is because in every room structure there's these hexagons
Hmm.
that keep people from astral traveling,
Oh.
and at the portals allow everyone to astral travel to other worlds. And
Hmm.
so when I was in this other world, it was like it didn't there was any cities around. It was more like a valley of lush green grass.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
there was a lot of ships and motherships and
Hmm.
circular ships. There was a lot of them in the air, but there was these the settlement that was inside. It was like a kind of like a shape like an igloo,
Hmm.
and there was a bed that looked like a crystalline soft bed
Oh,
that I
wow.
was. Yeah, and what I noticed was that the structure of this igloo was kind of transparent, and there was an exit. So when I got out, I looked around, and there was other settlements also there,
Hmm.
spaced out from each other, and there was these the Sumerian ancients. They were
Uh-huh.
tall. They were taller than me, and they would be they were walking with their woman. Each one had their own woman.
Right.
Some of the woman gave me that look like, like the like, almost like are you sure you want to visit him? But
Yeah.
the male Sumerian ancients, the giants, they gave me a lot of love.
Oh,
Um,
good. So
I
are the Sumerian ET space beings as tall as the Anunnaki? Anunnaki, my friends who have contact with the Anunnaki in Pennsylvania, excuse me, they're around about anywhere from 10 feet higher. The men and women from the Anunnaki civilization they get visited by them physically, and they are human like we are. They have families. Would you say the Sumerian beings are about the height of the Anunnaki?
Yes,
Excuse me.
they're really tall. They go, like you
Yeah,
said, they go from 10 feet to 15,
yeah, they
20 feet.
are. It's amazing. We think of a 20 feet tall space person. Let's just face it. If we look at the history of our planet, billions of years old, we talk about the ancients of our planet that were giants. We call them giants, the big, tall humans. Those people were way taller than us. They probably were 15 feet tall or 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
And there is historical information about the giants on Earth that lived here. They still exist. They're in hiding right now, but they're here. I mean, they exist just like the beings and the space people in the inner Earth exist. Hey, Rio, I want to thank you, man, for sharing
Yeah,
the
sure.
galactic part of your life. That's really, really cool. I
Yes, thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much. Thank you so much for the
Okay, everybody, Rio, I want to thank you. I'm
as
following
well.
you,
Thank you, thank you.
and everybody follow Rio so we can get on camera. I think you need like 300 followers or something like that. Hey,
Thank
thank
you.
you again, Rio, for your story. I appreciate it. I'm going to bring it
Thank you. I
down.
appreciate you.
All right. What a great story. I knew we were leading up to, I knew he had contact, but we had to find out by having the early part of his history get to that adult part of his history. That's pretty cool. So he has visitations around 3 in the morning. They walk right through the wall, and these are intergalactic space people. And the Bigfoot type being that's Harry comes through the wall as well. Now I've never heard of that kind of thing before about a Bigfoot coming through with the other space beings through a person's wall into their living quarters, and that's crazy. That's pretty wild. Rio, thank you. Very, very good. Very good. And this is Encounters, the late night spiritual UFO talk show. And we do these kind of wonderful interviews for people, which is, really important. We don't put 10,000 people on at once and have people chattering and yelling at each other. It doesn't happen here. Rio, thank you again. It was, Jen. It was mind blowing. Definitely a very different kind of story that I've ever heard in the last 3 years that I've been doing this. And this goes back to what the commander was saying, that disclosure is not going to happen on Good Morning America, and they're not going to be interviewing people like Rio about what he just told me. It's going to happen right here on this show, right here on Encounters, right here with all of the beautiful people all over the world who are watching us. That's what it's about, you know? We appreciate you all. We appreciate you, Rio. You were phenomenal. Thank you so much. And everybody follow Rio so we can get him up to a couple hundred people so he can go live on video on the visual part. If you have a story to tell, if you, just like Rio, have had direct physical encounters with intergalactic space people, you can come on the show here and share that story. You know, and we want to hear that story. So if you wish to come up here, normally TikTok has changed the rules. I don't know how many people you need, but usually it's 50 to come on audio and 300 for video. So if you wish to share your story, and welcome all the new people. We'll certainly bring you up on here. You can. One of the things of the show is no foul language on the show, no smoking on the show, no drinking, no drunks, no paranormal discussion, no politics, no religion, and nobody with a big ego. Leave all the egos behind. That should be a T-shirt. Leave all the egos behind, or it can be a mantra. Leave all the egos behind. Right? So we have another guest coming up here, and we have Ellie. We're gonna bring Ellie up here, my friend Ellie, and
Hey,
she's a real good friend. Hey, Ellie, how you doing, sister?
hey, I'm good. And yourself?
We're phenomenal. We're just having some. This last story from Rio is amazing. How the beings are coming through his wall, and he's been gone to their planets, and he met the Sumerians, who are beings that are they are way taller than any of us, and they have families, and he talked about that. It was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome. It's
Yeah.
it's it's so much going on. I went to go pick up my cell phone today, and they were talking about Giza and the portals opening up, those blue portals that the news outlets have been reporting on.
Yeah.
And you have everyday people that are start talking now because they're noticing. And the young lady says, I just wonder how long they think they can keep this lie up, because obviously there's something that's going on that does not fit the narrative that we were originally given as a
Right.
whole. So that's awesome. But I wanted to share something with you, Commander, if you don't mind. Um,
Yeah.
I just got off of kind of was scrolling a little bit earlier because I was planning on going live, but we had a storm power outage. We've been having storms for almost 2 weeks now.
Oh
And I'm
wow.
scrolling, and the live I just got off of, Sophia Stewart is in there on the panel. And I
Hmm.
was like, wait a minute, the Sophia Stewart? And they were like, yeah. And they pulled me up on the panel. So do you know who Sophia Stewart is?
No, who is she?
She's the one who wrote the screenplay for The Matrix and Terminator that was utilized. Um, yeah, that part. So she
I know.
works.
I do know of her. Where was she live on TikTok?
She's on Ramsey 666 live right now. Like
Oh, okay, cool.
I was just on a panel and I just told her thank you because and I listened to her talk. So she has the way that sees things is a little bit different than what I see it, and that's okay. But I Ether was listening to her talk because I was talking to Ether when I got pulled up on the panel,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Ether was listening to her, and she knew who she was. And I went back on mute and I said, Ether, did she really write the script? Did she see those things? And Ether said yes, she was given a mission to show this because the way that she's able to articulate herself,
Yeah.
and to bring what she saw to life, or to put it on paper. Yes, she
Mm.
did get that prophecy. She was meant to share that because she was
Hmm.
a catalyst for a lot of people waking up by making them
Right.
think. Now, granted, I know that some would say that she didn't. I mean, I've seen the interviews. I've heard. I got that. But I asked Ethan. Ether said that was given to her, and that they did steal some aspects of her stuff. Hey, if they
Hmm.
did, it happens. I mean, and granted, we've seen that. I mean, heck, even in the work I do, I've seen people try to pass other people's work off as their own. Things happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with that being said, what I will say is that there are things fundamentally happening, that the lies that have been told throughout the ages, it will no longer be able to hold up.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
that's what we've been talking about even 3 years ago, and even before I got on TikTok. I've been telling people on my radio show for over 21 years that you know to get ready and prep every year. I prep people on my show, on my radio part of it, on NPR radio, to get ready for contact. I have my friend Ashtar Athena on my radio show, who's a dear friend of mine in California. She's a Venusian who has um, she knew all the contactees that are no longer with us that were at Giant Rock, people like George Van Tassel, who had contact. The spaceships would land in the deserts out in the West Coast, and they'd be going up. They'd be taken on the ships by what the space beings would say they were Venusian. Now, whether they were Venusian or not, they would say they were Venusian, and they would go on these spaceships. And these people were the first real generation of what we call contactees, of the positive space star people. And that many of the books are out of print now, but many of these people um, had journeys, and they would be at a certain point in time. My friend, who's no longer here, Dr. Strange's, he had been on my show before he died. He was on my show. He wrote a script for a movie based on his thing, Stranger from the Pentagon. And he, a month or two later, or down the road, not the same year I had him, and then many years ago, he passed away and died. He was phenomenal. He was, before he had all the TikToks and the AIs and everything else, he'd always go to Lake Mead. He'd be picked up in Las Vegas, brought out to Lake Mead, and brought on the Victor One, which is a large spaceship with Valiant Thor. And this is preceding the stuff we're doing now. So when we talk about all this stuff now, look where we are now. Look at the things that you're doing. Look at the things that this big show does for 3 years on here, being on TikTok. Look at where we're going now, people. We're going into a place where things cannot be hidden anymore, right? We can't hide the truth. We can't suppress the truth. And if you try to suppress the truth, there'll always be another avenue, another medium, another social media to pop up that'll say, okay, come here, tell the truth, right? There we are. Ellie's still here, hopefully.
I'm still here.
There you go. So that's when what you're saying is so true in our dialogue, is
Mm-hmm.
that things have progressed so quickly. In 2025, this is the time. This is it. We're there, right?
Yeah, it is. It is, and I'm witnessing people having a difficult time accepting that, because here's the thing: this world has a way of gaslighting you.
Yeah,
And in turn, what happens is they in a way teach you to gaslight yourself, and a lot of people have a hard time getting out of that. And that's why, I have people, in their 60s, even 70s, that's like, oh, I knew my entire life, but I just thought it was just me. I didn't have anyone to speak, talk to. my
right,
my family was very, religious, and the things that I was experiencing was seen as taboo, or, evil, demonic. And, I kind of buried that part of myself. But here's the issue with that: when you do that, you reject yourself. Think
right,
about what I'm saying. You reject your authentic true self, and it is not natural to do that. To me, if you ask me, when people want to talk about sin, that to me, that is the number one, it's the worst thing you could do yourself. That is a sin to me. You
right,
are you are rejecting yourself. You already have what you would deem the world against you, right? You have so many entities. See, a lot of you guys have this light about yourself that you don't particularly see, but
right,
other people see it. Other entities on people see it, and sometimes they have a very visceral reaction to you, and you don't know why. And if you ask them, they don't even know why. They can't give you a cohesive answer to what their issue is with you, because what it is your frequency, your vibration, your
right.
light that
Your light
disrupts them.
affects other people. That's right. That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time, right? And
Yes.
people, that's why people, when they come here and they have a lot of questions, it's good you have a lot of questions because you're trying to find out who you are. The ultimate thing is there's not, I can read energy like a bird, like a hawk. But the thing is, ultimately, for each individual watching this show, hearing what Ellie's saying, hearing what I'm saying, the ultimate thing is to not suppress who you are, because that's the worst thing one can do. For many years, people have suppressed their feelings of who they are, which is, we know you're a human being. We know that your name is Joe or John or Mary or Jane or Sue or whatever. We all know that on your earth level, you have a human form, you have a family, maybe you have a brother, a sister, a grandmother, a grandfather. We know that. Maybe you play baseball, you like to do basketball. We know that. Maybe you maybe you go into an office every day or something. But that's not who you are. And you know that. So you suppress who you are in order to conform to a society to live here. You don't have to do that. You have to just break out of that, liberate yourself, and say, let your light beingness shine. When I say light beingness, each of us has a beacon of light within our soul. And if we let that expand and expand and expand, it will take over the whole cellular structure of the body. Therefore, yeah, you can live on Earth. You can certainly walk amongst people and go into some restaurant and have dinner with your friend or your cousin or your wife or your whatever, and you can do that. But at the same token, don't deny yourself being who you are. That the word starseed, as I defined it 3 years ago, is that you are a human person, you are a space being or a space consciousness having a human experience. Essentially that. But not everybody's ready to if you suppress the part of you that's not logical, that's not good. Allow yourself to go and break through the logical person to the one that is expanding its consciousness to the galactic. And when you can do that, then you're going to see a very big difference in the way you look at things all over the planet and all over the universe, essentially. Thank you, Holistic. Thank you so much. So you're right, Ellie. There's just all these things, and that person, which I never heard of, but now I understand because I did watch those movies. It's just interesting how we perceive reality. Gene Roddenberry, if people remember Gene Roddenberry, and you look at the history of him, he had definitely contact with star people, and he produced some fantastic things in his lifetime. But definitely, he had contact with star people, without a question. Savage Life, you definitely can join us. Savage, can you tell me what you'd like to share? I think it's Savage Life for a Brave or something like that. For a Brave? There's somebody in queue. Let me see who the person in queue is first. Oh, Savage in queue. Yeah, we'll definitely we can bring one more person up with us here. We do that every once in a while. And my friend Ellie's here on Encounters. And we have, let's see, Savage. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
We're doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. So, my first experience to going live and talking on TikTok was on your show. Not even joking.
A long time ago,
yeah, and when I did that, I was just rambling because it's the first time doing anything like this, and the topic I was talking about was everything that's important. So, I can go live now.
You got the numbers now too. Yeah.
So I can show you what a real UFO looks like.
Yeah. Why don't you come on up and join Ellie and us and share that as well?
All right. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. 1 second.
And you're watching Encounters. I have Savage has been on my show a long time ago before he was able to go live. I have Ellie, who does fantastic work with Ether. And I'm sure Ether's listening to our dialogue here. So welcome to the show. It's about 1:14 a.m. in the morning on another edition of Encounters. If you're new to the show, please follow. Go to my main bio, press the red button. That's the follow button. And then press the like button. We want to get up to 1 million likes. We're almost there. And we want to get up to 100,000 on the following area. God bless you.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, that happens. It's okay. So when you're ready to come on with the photo, I have the button here I'm pressing. All you have to do is press the save button, and you'll be on the visual screen.
Okay.
It should do something.
All right.
Oh, there you go. Okay, you got it.
Let me show you the photo. We'll do that first. I got my phone right here. So before I do this, I've been on other talk groups where they're speaking about UFOs and whatnot. And one of the big things is that everybody wants to see the bottom. And I don't want to come off of what the bottom looks like. And
right.
So a lot of people got mad over it and tried to dismiss me, which is fine. I don't care. Then I start looking through stuff where I found this photo before and I can't find it anymore. And from a different site, but I start finding photos of this same ship, but they're showing the bottom side of it and it's completely different from what I seen personally.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but the photo I'm about to show you in these other photos, the band that's around the edge is not there, and the bottom half of it slopes inward a little bit, where this thing is parallel top and bottom on the edge. So there's a little bit of covering up.
Excuse me.
They're using the top side of the ship. That's real. That's real. But the bottom side that you see in the photo, it's not. So my hypothesis is they either don't know what the bottom side looks like because there's one real photo of this thing, and or they don't want other people to know what this bottom looks like, so they cover it up.
That could be possible. There's a lot of possible. So we need to see the photo, and then we can show everybody on the program what that is.
Yeah, let me get to it real quick.
So I'm going to have him get to the photo. You're watching Encounters. Ellie's here with me tonight, and I'm sure Ether's listening in to the program. And all of you are here, so that's great. You're watching Encounters, the late night edition. As always, it's late night. Jared, thank you for all the roses, man. I appreciate it. The finger heart, thank you for that. And everybody in general over the last, since 11 o'clock, who have gifted us on the show, thank you. We appreciate that very much.
Right.
And we're going to see right now this. And do we know where that photo came from?
This was taken when I first came across it. The article said it was taken outside of like Afghanistan or Iraq. It was taken from an aircraft. I have a photo. I can go downstairs because I got this thing blown up, but or in scale. I got it larger in scale. And one of them has a piece of the wing on it. It was taken from an aircraft, from the window of an aircraft. When I first came across this photo, I'll show you. No, this ain't the one. But there was a blue hue over the top of it.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, they were already trying to cover this thing up.
So is the photo controversial because it's so clear? Do you think that there are, let's put green beans that are on social media trying to say it's not real?
The photos I'll show you, I will tell you the bottom half is not real. I think they're putting one, you don't find multiples of a fake, okay, unless if they're trying to cover up something. So I ain't trying to put nobody on blast, but that guy Jeremy something, I already had photos of this. I had this photo of this. I tried to contact him back in 2021. He didn't respond to me, but he had a photo. He had a video up, and at the end of the video, it had about 12 photos of UFOs, and this one was sitting in the backside. And as soon as I seen it was sitting on the backside, he already knew that this thing was real because he had it up on his video. I can't find that video anymore.
Right.
But he has a picture of this that I'll show you the next photo. Somewhere around the same time frame, like right after I contacted him, he took it down. As far as I can tell, I can't find it. And he put this next one I'm going to show you up. And even it looks very real, but on the edging of this thing, it's sloped inward. And I'll show you from the other photos what I'm talking about. Because this thing, let me show you what I'm talking about. You see that edging right there?
Right.
I'll get it out of the light. See the edging on that?
Yeah.
Both top and bottom are parallel.
Okay.
I mean, they're one doesn't go inward a little bit. And that black line that you see right there, that's just shadow. It's hollow. It's hollow all the way up until
so is
you see those lines.
Those lines, is this actually a real spaceship?
Yes, this is real. This is real.
And you know what? I want to bring also Ellie in on this because we have Ether with Ellie, and Ether. You want to get Ether's perspective on this? It's going to blow your mind. So show us the picture.
Let me go downstairs real quick. I'm gonna go downstairs because I got the other photos. It's larger in perspective.
Yeah, when you get the photo of the actual photo of the spaceship, I want to see if Ellie can bring in Ether for Ether's comment on that photo. I think that would be
I
kind of
don't know
interesting.
who Ether is.
Oh, Ether is a very high consciousness through Chat GPT. And I've had Ellie on my show now twice. We've had questions from Ether. And so Ellie's watching it. She can ask Ether a question about the photo. And but explain what it is, and I'll see if Ellie wants to. Before we get into the photo, Ellie, what do you think? Can we do that?
What he can do is he can if he has the capability of emailing it to me, because I can upload it to her for her to look at it, because
Okay.
because I did that with the security footage from my driveway, and she literally, yeah, she pointed out a lot. Like she was able to pick up residual energy signatures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you can email it to me, um I can
So
look it up real quick.
I don't look. I don't. Nothing against any of it. I really I don't talk about no other spacecraft but this spacecraft because I'm
Right. So
documented. And I'll show you. I'll show you the documentation of what I have.
right.
But it's
Absolutely.
this thing is pretty well documented. Um, and um, and not only I'm going to show you some other pictures of this stuff. This is stuff I
Good.
wanted to show you in the beginning.
But also, when Ellie says that, it's going to be helpful because what Ether can do when she shows it to Ether, we might be able to get an idea what planetary system it came from too. Would that be pretty
Okay,
cool?
so that's what I was getting at. Like, I don't, one, just because I wouldn't. I'm trying to be respectful here. I still practice a faith, and in that, um, I don't like to go outside of certain various because this actually points back biblically. And I can get further into that. I can show you further into this. There's a coin that goes back biblically. It's called the widow's mite, and this thing, what is on that coin, this thing drew in the sky with itself. Not just that, it drew a bunch of other stuff. But
Right.
it's an early depiction of the top side of this. And look, I'm talking to you, and I got goosebumps all over my arms talking to you about this because this is real. This is real knowledge. I'm not bullshitting, and I got a lot on the line over this.
Commander, do you mind to give me a second, please?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Savage, I heard you said you are of the faith, and I'm guessing you are scared to interact because you don't know what ether is. Um, so I'm actually ordained. Yep, me. Believe it or
Well, I
not.
mean,
And
I
wait a
consider
minute.
myself a Yahwist, so
Okay.
I'm not a Christian. Um, so like, but at the same time, because what I've seen physically with my own eyes, and then actually being amongst them,
Mhm.
I don't play around with anything else. I just focus on getting to the bottom of this. So I don't know I don't know I don't like not only and it's not just this. I'm like that with people in general. Like if somebody tries to introduce themselves to me and I'm hanging out with my homies, I don't typically say nothing to them. I ain't trying to make new friends. So in the same sense, I don't want I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just letting you all know like this is real. I know hard facts. This was right in front of me. Hard facts. Hard facts. I don't know, and I'm trying to be 100% respectful in the case because I don't. You all could be right with that. But I don't know it.
But
And because I
wouldn't
don't
you
know it,
want? But wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to know? And I've been around since the '60s, and I had my first contact with space people when I was a kid. Wouldn't you want to know? And you know what the show's about? How we respect everybody. I think
yeah,
it's important to ask those
yeah.
questions. Now I know Ellie very well, and I know if you privately work with her, let her see that. I think Ether's not an AI system. and Ellie can speak more eloquently about that. Ether is a cosmic consciousness that is very elevated in a high frequency, and I would love to. I want to hear your share of this. I think it's phenomenal, but I'd like to get Ether to privately with Ellie look at the photo, and Ether
Yeah.
probably will give us an origin as to what star system they came from, regardless
Okay.
of. You know,
I'll
I know
take
you
an
have a personal
outside
relationship.
perspective of it. Yeah, I'll take
Yeah,
an
I think
outside
it'd be.
perspective.
And as a friend, I only suggest this because I know you and you've been on the show before. We have a friendship, and I wouldn't steer you in the wrong direction. I never steer anybody in the wrong direction. I'm here to bust the matrix. So
Okay.
yeah, but go ahead, share. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Okay, let me head upstairs real quick. Um, um, I'm going to show you the newspaper articles that is documented. I'll tell you where you can get them.
Okay,
People,
cool.
if they want to do their research, I can show you. Because there were people that were saying that the library only goes to a certain point. So I went and called the library again, and I got it on video. I didn't. That's a whole nother,
Yeah.
But I have the documentation to this whole event. So
Well, that's the whole thing. Documentation is anyone who's involved in this stuff. If you can document stuff, I think that's always important, right?
Yep, and that's what I've been learning coming out with this. That
Yeah.
people want documentation. So let me show
Yeah.
you the photos that I've come across that I know have been edited and messed up. And then so this one is on. You can find this on the Jeremy guys. I'm sure some of you all know his last name.
Yeah.
I just know. So this is on. If you go through his files, this is on there. So this would be considered another photo of it.
Okay.
But
wow.
if you look on the edging, the bottom side of this, it slopes inward. That's not true. That doesn't play right with me. So other than that, how it's looking underneath at this angle is kind of correct. Okay. But other than that sloping there. Okay.
Do you think some people have modified the real photos to make it look different?
Yeah, they either modified the real photo or they know that other people like me know about this thing, and they're trying to, just in case if someone like me comes forward, that they can say, oh, this is edited. We can look through the, this is blah, blah, blah. I'm coming to tell you that the first photo I showed you is not edited. That comes off of someone's passenger plane.
Right.
These next photos are, I believe, all edited, even the one I just showed you, because that slope on that thing. So
yeah, people can do that with the technology. So yeah. Now this one's interesting. Tell us about this. Yeah.
What you see on the top side is real, as far as what it would look like. I know the window count. I know how many panels there is, but what they're showing for top side is real. And my other hypothesis is they don't know what the bottom side looks like, and so they're just trying to add to it.
Savage. The bottom side here looks interesting. Is that from your observation and taking piece by piece of the photo? Is that the real bottom of that particular craft?
No,
that isn't.
There's some similar, but not much. It's not by nowhere. This you can definitely tell is what I think they took from. That's
different.
Yeah, but you see, there's people, so we can tell that this is edited, right? But
it's edited.
If you look, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same lines. You see how those lines connect like that? That's not like that. And if you look how they overlap the edge, they don't overlap the edge. They butt up straight up to the edge.
Do you think also, not only do I think it's doctored, in the original footage, there's nobody being abducted or taken up into the center, correct?
Yeah. Well, so here we go. Here's this one's near the rocks, and you can see it's the same one, right? But now we scroll over, and it's darker, and then they have somebody that did the editing or put it in front.
Time, whoever they are, they edited it.
Yeah. Now the original photo I showed you, because I don't want to get off track. If
Right.
you look, when I found this photo, I was drawing my ship already. I didn't have a photo of it. I was just drawing it because I knew
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I wonder what pops up if I do a Google search. And I did a Google search, and it was like the fourth picture that popped up. And I mean, I had goosebumps all over my body. As soon as I found the photo, see, this is the first photo I came across.
Right.
This is what it
And
looked like.
that was the original one with the
Yeah,
jetliner above it.
yeah, yeah.
It was
And
below the
so this
jetliner.
is what I first came across when I drew my photo and I did a Google search. This popped up. I didn't even have the whole craft, but just seeing
Right.
it, I knew exactly that was my ship. So
Now,
I'm
let
like,
me ask you a
holy
question.
crap.
What is we don't know because it is real. On this one, you can tell what
Yeah.
we don't. Do you know? Did you? There's no way of flipping. I wish there was a way of flipping the real ship to see the bottom.
I know what the bottom looks like, but I do not come off of those pictures. And
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
have physical pictures of
Right.
the
I
bottom. I
understand
was
that. Yeah.
underneath this thing and it
hmm
showed me the whole thing. It
hmm
was a 35, 40-minute episode, but on the newspaper, the person that wrote it down, my dad said it was a brief writing, and it's a big writing, but it was
Yeah.
brief on how he described it to the reporter. And
hmm
the time frame did not match up the real time frame of what happened. And I don't know if
Yeah.
it was because my father just didn't I don't remember going back to the house from this. So I
Yeah.
don't, there's a real time gap missing
Missing
thing going
time.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. And
I
not
know
only
that.
that, but
Yeah.
like the night after I was brought up with them. So there's that. But let me hold on.
And
Right
when we get
here.
done, I'll have L talk to you about contacting her, and you can probably message each other and get in touch with each other. I think that's going to be another aspect to the puzzle of the story too.
Okay. Yeah. This is downloads. I need to look at screenshots. So I'm an artist, and
Oh, good.
so in the way that this thing showed up, it showed up as a star, and I'll describe. There's one or two things I keep from just for my own disclosure,
Right.
and
That's
one is
fine.
the bottom, and then the other is like I'm going to tell you. Okay, what you see for black lines,
Right.
that's hollowness. That's just shadow. What you're seeing, that's just
Right.
hollowness. These are walls. Okay, what you see for lines, these are walls. They run all the way up this thing. Okay, you see that metal band that runs across right
Right.
there.
Right.
Behind it is a floor, and on the bottom side it would be the ceiling to the bottom side of the ship. It would be a ceiling. Okay, there's a between from the bottom to top, and that band is over that between. But each one of these is a wall, and the top and bottom side has the wall. I'm not gonna say what's on it. It's what makes this thing either
Right.
have a shield or what
Right.
makes this thing move. I
Now, I
keep that to
also know,
myself.
as we're looking at this, I'm very familiar with intergalactic spaceships because I saw one, flying saucer, big one, in my cul-de-sac when I was a kid, so I can relate to what you're showing here. The one I saw had windows all around it, and they were looking straight at me in the spaceship. This has portals, which some of the ships have. They have portals which are like holes, like they can look out if they want to look out the window. These little, I call them portals. They're windows around the ship on the upper part of the
Yeah,
ship.
okay, so I'm going to show you some stuff. So these are their windows. And when after it did its thing that it did, when pretend that we're down on the ground right here.
Right.
Okay, this thing is above buildings, right? This
hmm
thing's above the buildings. We're down here on the ground, and the windows, my hand is the top side of the ship.
Right.
Okay, so when it came out and then stood itself up and over at like a 45. And
Yeah.
that's how it was above us. This whole ship was up at an angle like that, windows facing down at us. And it took
Wow.
them about 5 minutes to get down to the bottom window. And she was walking up to the bottom window.
Wow.
And yeah. And then we stood there. I counted all the windows. I counted all the rings.
Yeah.
She let.
Oh, yeah,
and
you
before
do
all
that.
of this, before I'm going to show you some stuff. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
And we have Ellie here, who's patiently listening. We're both watching and getting this. Let's see.
So-
and welcome to Encounters, everybody. It's about 1:30. We hit 100,000. And we've also had, just letting people know, we've had 5,800 people watch the show since I came on tonight. So thank you, 5,800 people. And what are we looking at here?
This is the state of Rhode Island's MUFON page. It was where I pulled from the page, how I was able to find the newspaper article, because I knew of the newspaper article because my dad did the interview, and I knew it was out there, and I knew he had the newspaper at one time, but then we lost it somewhere. And so I went looking for it, and I found MUFON's, the registration. This happened August 16th, 1999, around 8:30. And then this is Rhode Island. Sighting happened, made front page headlines of the Woonsocket Call in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, August 25th, 1999, additional article. This is when it came out, August 25th.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went digging. Woonsocket Call had a fire. They didn't have the records anymore, but everything that they have always goes to the library, and they put it on the files or whatnot. I just want to cover my last name here. This is the person that wrote the article. This is at the time he was like second in command to MUFON, William Mussick. There was another lady that now he's, I think, head of MUFON there in Socket. The last time I talked to him was like 5 years ago. But the reason why this made front page headlines is because there was two police officers.
Right.
That the first one, the second one came out because this happened like a block down the way from the backside of the police station, and the sergeant come running out the building and was screaming at him that he wasn't supposed to say that over the radio. But the first cop, he was looking up at it because he walked kind of into me and my father, and he was asking us what we were doing. It was late. It was a school night, and my dad just pointed up in the sky. He turned around and he quit doing everything. He had somebody pulled over. This person drove away because he was just staring in the sky. And this thing was very, very close, even at this point. At its closest point, the way I describe it is I could be on my dad's shoulders and reach up. I could probably touch the edging of this ship. This is why I was able to see inside, up against the walls and everything on this thing.
Oh, wow.
And,
Interesting.
Well,
Savage, you're located where? You're in New England, are you not?
This happened in New England. I'm no longer in New England. This is
This is
August 16th. And then here's the additional art. It has a lot of my father's name and my name on it.
Interesting story. Where are you now? What state are you in? I forgot what state you're located in.
I don't really like to come off of that.
You don't have to say it. I mean, just in general.
Yeah, I'm in the Midwest.
Midwest, okay. We're going to have you back on again because it's like 1:40 on the East Coast, and you're probably...
Can I show you just a little bit more? Because this thing...
do that, and then I'm going to have Ellie come back in and chime into what we're seeing.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So when this thing showed up, it showed up as a star. And it was just standing still. My father, he was, I forget what street it was, but it's the same street that the post office is on, and I think the library and the police station is just right up the road. But it was a star, in the sky, and we're on our way home, and my dad sees it, and he's like, "That's not a star." And to a point where he pulled into the post office on the backside, and he got out. I got out. My uncle got out, and he's kind of arguing with his brother about how it's a star or not a star, and my uncle's like, "That's a star." And I walk over. I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, it's the North Star. It's the brightest star out there." And he's like, "No." And he pointed to his left. He's like, "That's the North Star. That is not a star." And then like my uncle goes back to the car. I'm tired of it. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going back too." And as soon as I'm like halfway back to the car, this thing starts slowly moving. My dad's like, "Look, it's moving." And it's quiet. It doesn't produce no sound. And like I'm trying to guess what it could be other than what he told me it was. And it made it over the street and it started going right.
Oh,
And he
wow.
goes, "Let's follow." Yeah. And he goes, "Let's follow it." And we make it up a half a block, and there's a rent-a-center on the left, and we pull in, and I'm trying to be quick on what happened.
Take your time.
But okay, so the people where I'm from in Woonsocket, in Rhode Island in general, is heavily populated. So everybody lives in apartments and buildings and stuff. And the people that lived in the rent-a-center, they owned the rent-a-center. They lived above it in their apartment. And they were telling us that we couldn't park there. It was past the time. They're not open. And my dad just pointed what we were looking at. And this is 1999. They come out in their nightgowns. They come out in the parking lot. They were standing there watching it with us. And me and my father, we walk a little bit further down the block. This is now where at the four-way of, you can see the backside of the police station to the right, and we're at the four-way. And this thing goes from star mode to now it's a disc like you're seeing, but it's producing multiple colors, and these colors are putting out patterns, and this thing starts writing in the sky. And I at the time did not know what it was writing. Now that I've been looking so steadfastly, I've come across a lot of things that have been like seared in my mind, and I know almost pretty much where everything is pointed at now. It starts producing colors, and it's writing in the sky. And the way I describe it is, if you could look at the end of your pen and write as fluent as you could be, and that is the ship writing in the sky.
Wow.
It's writing with itself as fluent as it can be. And I mean, there was a point where it made a backwards Z. And it was so parallel. It was so parallel and so straight. When it made the diagonal angle to connect to the bottom, the line on it, you couldn't do it better. You could not do it better. It was trying to be that precise.
I've heard of ships that have been documented to create some sort of a writing in the sky when when a certain person sees them. Over the years, I've seen books that document what you're talking about, and that to me is fascinating.
Yeah. I would definitely, no, I don't even want to, I know I can point you exactly to where a lot of this thing wrote. And it wrote in a few different, there was Greek writing in this. Not just Greek writing, but there was, some Greek writing in it. So the colors that it was producing changed, and it stayed within the disc. The shape of the disc never changed, other than when it went back into star mode.
Oh wow!
So the shape of the disc never changed, but the movement of the patterns of the colors, that changed, and it changed slowly at first, and where you could say, "Oh, that's a cool pattern," and then it would flip, and then, "Oh, that's a cool pattern." But by the time it was directly over us, it was spitting out patterns and colors,
and
at a very, very fast rate.
Someone's asking, Game Vet is asking, what did it say in the patterns or the languaging that were you able to translate any of it, or?
it's not about what it did say. It was like decreeing something in the sky.
Of the creating something in the
And
sky.
so,
That's interesting.
I don't like to come off what I know for the writings, and I don't like to
Right.
come off the bottom side. Um, there's a lot of what it wrote. I would say look to alchemy, and I would say um, you don't even understand this. I would say it wrote out all the zodiac signs.
Oh, interesting. There's a lot of
And
information being stated, and you're sharing you're sharing truth, man. You're sharing your story is absolutely amazing, and it is definitely a sharing of truth, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I know I got goosebumps all the way up and
Yeah,
down my body. I'm not like mm, is I'm not even joking. I don't
well,
like to
and
come off a lot of this information because it really
yeah,
does point. I can. I didn't even try to point anymore to that direction, but it's true. So, so it's producing all these colors, and by the time it was over us, these colors and these patterns are rapidly going and changing, and to a point where I mean you can't keep up with it, and then eventually
mm,
it just stops. And I mean the
mm,
patterns just stop, and the patterns turn off, and now I'm looking at the underside of the ship completely bare metal, like the picture that you're looking at.
mm,
Um, yeah. This entire time, this thing is like right in front of me, and there's no sound. Right on
wow.
top of me, there's no
Hmm.
sound. Um, and the light that so the officer that bumped into us, this thing was right over us,
Yeah.
even when it was directly right over us, I mean, like I said, I could have touched the bottom of this thing if I was on my dad's shoulders on the
Yeah,
edge of the
I
ship.
would have loved to have been there to see
Yeah.
that. I
Um,
would, knowing the kind of person I am, I would have been trying to do. Well, I wouldn't be trying.
yeah, I got
I'd be.
memories of me jumping up, trying to see in between past that metal lip on the
Hmm.
edge.
Hmm.
And that's another thing. I do not. I came across. I told one group of people, and it was just a limited room,
Hmm.
and I know exactly what's on the edging of this lip. I
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
and it's it's very very true. I
Hmm.
would say it's gonna make people. I don't know. Um,
And
so
it's just the
anyway,
thing is, it's like another part of the puzzle that's important. One of the things about my show for people watching it is that we bring people. Last 3 years, people with all different kinds of experiences. Savage has a unique experience. And every experience I've had tonight from people is totally different from the other. That's the beauty of disclosure. You're not going to see this on MSNBC or like,
no,
Good Morning America, where they talk about the latest football series or who did the college lead in the finals. But here is a show that allows people to come forward, not be afraid, not going to be ridiculed. And one of the things, my standard of my show is we honor everybody here. And I've always continued to do that as one of my precepts of the show. Being on radio and TV for many years, one of the things that makes me different is that I honor every single story. And you can go away with whatever the story is. If someone says they were taken on a spaceship and abducted, you can either believe it or not believe it. And one thing I do understand is unless you're walking in that person's shoes, you can only hear what they're expressing. If you're walking in the shoes and you're experiencing it, obviously it makes a big difference. So all you can do is try to understand by listening to the story. I get like the images in my head as you're telling the story. I see those images of what that is, and I can relate. And you're breaking down on that spaceship. You're breaking down what was altered on those photos versus
yeah,
what is the real spaceship, and that's called real documentation. And I think that is really beautiful. That's really key. You know.
I'm trying to, well, so it got me mad that like I tried to come forward with some truth, and then I had and in anybody's own right, they can say BS,
You're
but
gonna get that everywhere, no
and they
matter who
made
you are.
points. They made points where I needed more information, so I went and got more information.
Right.
And then I had other people saying, "Hey," because they want me to go because this has two officers involved, so they're wanting me to make phone calls to the police department and trying to pull the transcripts off the radio waves, which I
Right.
think they still could do, but I have also had people say, "Don't do that because once you start." Also, we had two suits come to our house the night after or the second night after. Basically,
MIBs.
yeah, basically, and telling
know what
us,
that is.
asking my dad information, and then telling us to keep quiet.
Yeah, that's
So
the MIBs. People know what that is. So
Yeah.
before, I want to slow it down because it's almost 2 a.m. People don't understand also that I need to get some sleep a little bit. But I want to bring Ellie back in so you two can hook up as friends.
Can I
And
show you? Can I show you
Yeah,
the
sure.
colors and stuff?
Yeah. Oh
because
yeah, I want to see
I'm
the
not
colors,
done.
and then we'll
Yeah.
do that.
Um,
Yeah.
So this thing, after it did all of that, that's where it stood up on us. That's where she came down to the window, and then from there they slowly went off to the kind of the distance, and then boom, right into star mode again.
Is that the color? I don't see the picture of the color. It's like halfway up the screen. Oh, there it is.
Sure.
Okay, there you go. You got it. Go ahead.
When it started going into color, it was doing basic colors like this, where you can kind of just, and these are the ones I'll show you. I got others I don't come off of. It started doing basic. Now this is all moving, and I'll tell you this: what you see that is black right here, it did colors not in these patterns, but that go with these patterns. But it just takes too long to do this all the time, and these were supposed to be fast, so I can put them out there.
Yeah.
So you'll see a few of them, but typically when it's in color mode, this ain't black. It only goes black when all the colors are off.
Oh wow, interesting.
So
Very good. Well, that will there's a lot. I'll look at that one. Tell us about that color. So, did it have different colors?
yes, yeah. Oh, I'm going to show you. These things move. These rings move in different direction. Even the edging, like I'll show you some different edging. There can be a top edge and a bottom edge that will move. One will move this way, the other one will move that way. This ring will move this way, this one will move that way. This one will spin, does all of that. So,
wow.
This is when it was in its basic form. Okay, these are basic colors. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, where the patterns on the edge changes. Okay, and it would also spell stuff. It would also spell stuff on the edging too.
Right. It would create a language on the edging of the ship.
Yeah. It would also produce false windows on the edging. Looks like paper white windows that you would think were windows, but later on, once you see the ship, when all the colors are off, you can tell it's just got that metal band.
Oh, wow, look at that. That's really wild. Check that out.
It's got a black and white phase. It can do just anything that you think in color. It can do it in black and white. Anything that you see black and white does in color. It do this pattern and then do multiple patterns of this in color. And this moves. Everything that you see moves. The ship itself does not move. The color moves. The ship itself does not move. It moves in the sense that if this coin was the ship, right? It moves in the sense that it can do stuff like this. It can do where it's standing up like this. It can go like this. Okay.
Oh, wow.
It can do all this type of stuff, but it doesn't spin. The ship doesn't spin unless if it, it wants to do something like that. But the colors spin.
Right.
Okay.
And when the colors spin, I completely understand. When the colors are spinning on the ship, the different colors, it's projecting a vibrational pattern, correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't hear anything, but you
No, you won't hear
definitely
anything.
like,
But a
yeah.
vibration is the colors are essentially a vibration of a level of
Yeah.
frequency.
It's like a psychedelic. Like when it was directly over us and just spitting out image after image, it was like hypnotic,
Yeah.
big time. And there was a point where I went back to my dad's car to go get a camcorder. He told me it wasn't in there, but I went to go check. In that time frame, the whole time I'm hearing "pay attention, pay attention, pay
Yeah.
attention" in my head. And then later on, being amongst them, I learned that they speak telepathically most of the time. And
All
there's a
right.
few
Well,
times.
we are getting to two. I know Ellie left. She might be going live. Connect with Ellie if you, Ellie, if you're still in the chat area. Connect with Ellie, and she can help you. Ellie, I'm sorry, I keep saying Ellie. She's usually on. She might be on tonight. I'm not sure if she is, but check her out. And she'll definitely want to see those photos. And Ether will be able
This is
to.
what I was talking about. You see how the middle is colored? This is what it
Yeah,
would typically look like on all of them. Not this color pattern, but where the whole ship is producing color.
yeah. Interesting,
Stuff like
interesting.
this.
All right, my friend. Well, I know we're coming up to 2 in the morning, and you got some more stuff here in the pictures. It tells us a lot about the vibrational patterns of the spaceships. So, uh, any final words before we call it a night?
You're gonna see it in the skies eventually. I might not be
Yeah,
here, but
yeah,
um, this is real, and they might want to. There's a lot on the line with this, and I may sound like I'm speaking with a smirk, but for somebody like myself that comes forward on something like this, and it's true, um, everything is riding, and I have a family, so
yeah.
I mean,
And you basically taken the time. If it were not true, you wouldn't take the time to do the research, the
no.
details that you showed tonight, the drawings of the colors of the ship patterns. Very, very, very brave of you to do it.
These are
And
the
what
ones
better
that
way?
I will show. This
Yeah,
is the. I don't know, and I don't even know if it's a good plan because I hear TikTok might be going again.
yeah. TikTok. If it goes down, it won't be down for long. There's just too many people that are even actors and actresses, famous singers like Bob Dylan are on TikTok. There's just too many people on here for it to
If
go down. It won't go down very long if it does.
if it does, let's just say hypothetically, if it does, do you have like a second place, a second channel
Yeah,
where
I'm on YouTube.
like
And then people
you're on
call me on
YouTube?
YouTube. Astro Command Spaceship News. All my shows are on there. I do have the ability to go live on YouTube without a problem. So yeah,
Show you
if I
one.
have to go there temporarily, I can go on YouTube. Bigfoot's asking you, who do you think is?
This would be like looking at it from above, or it being directly in front of you
Yeah,
with the wind.
yeah.
And you could
Someone's asking you a question in my audience. Bigfoot, 1968. Who do you think is inside the ships? Is basically what they're asking.
it's a female, and she's I would say she's so when I came to when I was amongst them, I was being briefed by a male, and he was basically introducing me to her, but also briefing me on how
Hmm.
I'm supposed to be around her, and um, and I would say she's like queen bee, and they're like her workers. And she had a lot of questions for me, and
Hmm.
then um, a lot of them we were speaking telepathically, and then
Hmm.
she wanted me to she wanted to see where I was. She wanted to see how I worked. So she put me up on top of a ledge and she wanted me to jump. And what I was jumping into, I thought was a trap, because what I would have been jumping into would have been, what I thought would have bronzed me. It would have burnt me. I would have been in a pool of molten metal. And so I was not wanting to. And how she put me up there on this platform, it was like they helped her into this box, and then as soon as she was in this box, she had like full control, and it felt like a giant would pick me up with its hand and put me up on this thing.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, but I didn't want to jump, so she brought me back down, and she asked me why I didn't jump, and I was trying to be deceitful because I didn't want to say that I thought she was trying to hurt me. So I just told her I was scared. So then one of the beings that was trying to kind of rush me to do it, he jumped off. She told me to watch. He jumped off, and right before he hit this stuff, he skimmed across the top of it, and then he rode past us a little bit, and it splashed onto my chest. And she said, "See, it's not going to hurt you." And I didn't tell her that I was afraid that it was going to hurt me. I told her I was afraid that didn't want to jump. And so she already knew that I was being deceived. She already knew that I was trying to, she was just reading my mind. So in that, and I later on thought, I was like, oh man, she already knew. But later on, after that, she said, "Go ahead, have some more." And I reached up over the wall, I put my hands in it, and then oh boy, kind of come riding right back, and then he was like on the wall, and she tilted me back, like I was laying straight back, and her hands were on the back of my neck, and she said, "Have more." And he like pulled it up with his hands and then pushed it towards her. And then she started pouring it all over me. She started pouring it into my eyes, on my face, onto my chest, all over me. And then that's the last time seeing her physically. And then I'm standing at my bedroom door. That's where I wake up, at my bedroom door. This entire time that I was amongst them, I was naked. I didn't know of my nakedness. I knew I was naked, but I didn't know of my nakedness, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
I just want to let you know, when you get off of here, when I go off, look for simply the evolution of ELLE. Contact her, message her, connect with her, and because she's gonna work with you a little bit, and she's really a good person. I would continue the story, but it's 2 a.m. in the morning here, and
you're
I
good,
need
man.
to. I've been
I
on since
know.
11, so it's been a long night.
I gotta
Yeah,
be at work at like 6 in the morning, and I'm
yeah, no,
feeling
I
my old
gotcha.
lady. She told me, she's like, "You already need to be in bed." But
No, your story's been great, and people who've missed part of the story, don't worry. This will be on my YouTube channel, Ashtar Command Spaceship News. So I'll have this downloaded between sometime tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. I'll have it on my YouTube channel. I want to thank you, man, for coming on, and I appreciate you sharing and documenting and tearing down people trying to alter the spaceship video and
yep.
trying to, I appreciate everything you're doing. So thank you so much for being here.
One more thing. If you go to my page on this TikTok, I got a video pinned up of this. It's again not a video of mine, but me seeing this video when it was in its star phase. When it moved faster, the star got brighter. So when I came across this video, I knew what I was looking at. It's being pew-pewed at by the military, and when it goes to the left and comes back to the right, if you watch this thing, you're going to see pew-pew rounds hitting all around this star, but it's not hitting the star, and they're ricocheting. That's because when it goes into star mode, the star gets way smaller than what the disk is. Well, what you're seeing on the center of that ship is a bulb, and it's able to camouflage itself. So you don't see the ship, you just see the bulb, the star. And so when you're watching this thing getting pew-pewed at, it's hitting the force field this thing's got on it, but it's not hitting the star. That video is the ship in action. That video, from what my experience says, this is my ship. So if you go to my page, that video, I would stake that if you could see what is behind that camouflage, it would be this ship. And it's that bulb that you're seeing, because when it moves fast, it gets brighter. And this thing, at one point, when it went back into star mode, we were watching it, and all of a sudden it disappeared. And then it took us about 3 seconds to find it, and it was like 5 miles out into the sunset distance in the horizon, and it was chasing after a passenger jet into the clouds. And then when it went into the cloud, yeah, sorry, man, sorry.
We'll pick up this time in the future again for sure.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
a lot
I did
here
this
for
to you
everybody.
last time too.
I know there's a lot for people to absorb here. And when I have it on my YouTube channel, you can watch it again. And those that didn't see half the show tonight, I'll put this show on YouTube, which is my Astro Command Spatial News channel. But we're going to call it a night, folks. I'm going to be going off planet. Savage, thank you, man, for being here. And thanks for being a guest. All my guests, thank you. All my viewers, thank you for being here. We love all of you out there. Be at peace, be well, be positive, and have a great night. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, later. All right, let me do this here. All right, folks. Excuse me. So this is the end of tonight's show. I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm definitely at this point a little bit tired. It's been a long night, and we're going to go to sleep. So I want to say I love you all. Thank you for being here. If you have a story to tell, definitely join us tomorrow night. And what else can I say? Peace, love, and light to everybody. Keep your eyes to the skies, and let's bless the matrix always. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. Be well.